tells the truth without any fear. Oh, she's momming it up day and night, with a heart that's growing bright, helping those who need a hand, guiding them to understanding, counseling hearts so wise and true. In her mind, visions of the new, sees potential in every soul, loves her compass, loves her goal. Oh, she's momming it up day and night, with a heart that's growing bright, helping those who need a hand, guiding them to understanding, counseling hearts so wise and true. In her mind, visions of the new, sees potential in every soul, loves her compass, loves her goal. Oh, she's momming it up day and night, with a heart that's growing bright, helping those who need a hand, guiding them to understanding, advocate for every child, lending ears and running wild. Woke up before the dawn, she's got her armor on, fighting for those who can't, champion with a loving chant. Investigates the hidden truth with a pen sharp and couth, unlocks doors with every word, and justice never goes unheard. Oh, she's momming it up with a heart so tough, advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. Canceling and every call, patching up before the fall. She sees the good in every face, spreads hope all over the place. Like Dr. Phil with a softer touch, opinions from below so much. Her guidance is a shining star, lifting lives both near and far. Oh, she's momming it up with a heart so tough, advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. With a heart so tough, advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. Makes the world a little more wild. Makes the world a little more wild. Dawn, she's got her armor on, fighting for those who can't, champion with a loving chant. Investigates the hidden truth with a pen sharp and couth, unlocks doors with every word, and justice never goes unheard. Oh, she's momming it up with a heart so tough, advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. Canceling and every call, patching up before the fall. She sees the good in every face, spreads hope all over the place. Like Dr. Phil with a softer touch, opinions from below so much. Her guidance is a shining star, lifting lives both near and far. Oh, she's momming it up with a heart with a heart so tough. Advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. Makes the world a little more wild. Makes the world a little more wild. Woke up before the dawn, she's got her armor on, fighting for those who can't, champion with a loving chant. Investigates the hidden truth with a pen sharp and couth, unlocks doors with every word, and justice never goes unheard. Oh, she's momming it up with a heart so tough. Advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. Penciling in every call, patching up before the fall. She sees the good in every face, spreads hope all over the place. Like Dr. Phil with a softer touch, opinions from below so much. Her guidance is a shining star, lifting lives both near and far. Oh, she's momming it up with a heart so tough. Advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. Momming it up with a heart so tough. Advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. Makes the world a little more wild. Makes the world a little more wild. Woke up before the dawn, she's got her armor on, fighting for those who can't, champion with a loving chant. Investigates the hidden truth with a pen sharp and couth, unlocks doors with every word, and justice never goes unheard. Oh, she's momming it up with a heart so tough. Advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. Penciling in every call, patching up before the fall. She sees the good in every face, spreads hope all over the place. Like Dr. Phil with a softer touch, opinions from below so much. Her guidance is a shining star, lifting lives both near and far. Oh, she's momming it up with a heart so tough. Advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. Force of nature's running a PTA with a smile so sweet, hands in the air like she's gotta preach, solving mysteries with a truth so deep, spreading love, never out of reach. Advocate with a voice so clear, lifting up kids, chasing away the fear. Got her facts straight like a newsroom star, helping hearts heal from near and far. Oh, she's momming it up in style, every step, every mile. With a heart that's fierce, she lights the night, fighting for love like a warrior soul. counselor's chair, she's got your back. Advice so smooth, never gonna lack. Dr. Phil vibes, but 10 times more open hope, third at heart, she's the one they adore. Seeing the good, she'll find the gold, even in stories that were once so cold. Eyes like a hawk, she's on the prowl. For every single truth, she'll walk that mile. Oh, she's momming it up in style. Every step, every mile. With a heart that's fierce, she lights the night. Fighting for love like a warrior, so bright. And the warrior, so bright. Oh, she's momming it up in style. Every step, every mile. With a heart that's fierce, she lights the night. Fighting for love like a warrior, so bright. Oh, so bright. Warrior, so bright. In the counselor's chair, she's got your back. Advice so smooth, never gonna lack. Dr. Phil vibes, but 10 times more open hope, third at heart, she's the one they adore. And the council. Woke up before the dawn, she's got her armor on, fighting for those who can't, champion with a loving chant. Sharp and couth, unlocks doors with every word, and justice never goes unheard. Oh, she's momming it up with a heart so tough. Advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild. Canceling in every call, patching up before the fall. She sees the good in every face, spreads hope all over the place. Like Dr. Phil with a softer touch, opinions from below so much. Her guidance is a shining star, lifting lives both near and far. Oh, she's momming it up with a heart so tough. Advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild.
Hello, everybody. Get your snacks, your coffees, your drinks.
With a heart so tough, advocate for every child, makes the world a little more wild.
I'll give you the link.
Makes the world a little more wild. Makes the world a little more wild.
Like the baby, it's like it's asleep. I'm gonna come hang out with all of you. All 7,000 of you. Got popcorn fishies? Is it special popcorn or like powder popcorn or baby girl popcorn?
With a heart so tough.
All right. I finally found that link for the memberships. I put it in the description and figured out the ads. So hopefully the ads don't bombard anybody that doesn't have YouTube Premium. Now I gotta spit my gum out. It's too late in the day. Just plain? Ah, I am, Trishy. I am hanging in there. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Did you watch this little special guest that Sweetie PieLo had on her show last week? By any chance? Just gonna go over the disclaimer really quick, the social media disclaimer and statement in the digital age that we are in. On this channel, we engage in discussions about true crime, current events, and societal issues. The content shared here, including posts, comments, discussions, consists of a variety of speculative opinions. So, personal opinions, speculation, open dialogue. It is never going to be professional or legal advice. On Mommin It Up, we exercise our legal right to free speech in the US of A, again, by engaging in open discourse on public matters. These discussions, be advised, this is your only trigger warning. They may include sensitive topics, unsolved cases, and ongoing investigations. Added reminder, content is for informational and discussion purposes only. Hypotheses expressed are not statements of fact. I encourage critical thinking and independent research. Always, always, always go to professionals. Sometimes you need 2 or 3 opinions for legal, medical, or personal advice. Just remember that. And now we can get back into watching this. I'm very excited to watch this. Got to turn my fan down. And this was Sweetie PieLo. She had Mike Dammann on. And I didn't get to hear the entire discussion, but I wanted to just go over a little bit with you guys. I'll put the number in chat if anybody wants to call in and share their opinion.
Again, they've never even done luminol in the home. Or what is it? Amino black. Is that the same thing? I think it is. They've never done any of that. So if there was, let's say, a struggle in his room at one point, there is no knowledge of it. Law enforcement never looked into it. I don't even think they took their vehicles in. Trying to remember. I feel like they did not. No, they did not, from what I can remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Very uncomfortable situation. Okay, I'm going to read some of your comments, and then I'm going to invite Mike up and then take some phone calls. Mike, if you're in the audience right now, you want to click in and air your thoughts, we'll wait for him. Okay, Tina says those flashlights are KP and CP carrying Sebastian out to a waiting car. That's what I absolutely feel. And in my opinion,
parts are not going to be in there. And
there we go.
Watch him, I'm sure.
There's Mike.
What I don't
Dammann.
understand a lot lately is that Chris,
Sweetie PieLo, Mike Dammann are like my go-tos right now for their personality, but their transparency. You know, I really enjoy the way that they are blunt, honest, and they do it in a way that is a lot nicer on the ears, so to speak, than a lot of the other content I've been finding.
will go on these live streams on a
Oh, here we go with this darn thing. Don't start.
absolute tirade, right? He's talking about who's doing this to who.
Oh my goodness. No.
That's so concerning. Again, they've never even done luminol in the home. or what is it? Amino Black. Is that the same thing? I think it is. They've never done any of that. Catch my drift. There's Mike. Hey, Mike. I'm going to add you on. Okay, this is Mike Dammann. You guys probably watch him, I'm sure. He's a voice, speech analysis guy, expert, I would say. And he goes through, you know, what do people say and what does it really mean? The words that they say. Okay, Mike, I'll hand it over to you. Are you on? I can be on camera if you want. Mike?
How about you are on camera and I'm not? Because I'm so worried that I'm going to cut out if I'm on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, thank you for having me. I am very, absolutely like, I mean, I'm not surprised that AMW was so lame. I should have expected it, but it's always, you know, I'm surprised that I'm not surprised because the whole show, I can guarantee you that they had their lawyers present, and after everything was recorded and taped, they went through all the details and they wanted to make sure that certain parts are not going to be in there. And the Proudfoots had their way, and Seth just went with the flow. And the Proudfoots made sure that they're going to go first, which means Katie was the one introducing Sebastian to the world, which I think is a huge travesty because I think, and I'm wondering, what is Tony Mattis doing? What the hell is he doing to allow this to become a vehicle for them to use this as a propaganda opportunity? And you're absolutely right. It is good to be on there because, you know, you need to get his name out. Yes. But, I mean, they are conditioning the people who are not aware yet what the case is all about from the get-go. So they get this, you know, and that's what has been happening. And Chris Proudfoot, I have to give it to him. In this case, you know, he is very proactive. He is very, how you say it? He's very
calculating.
Preemptive. He's very preemptive. And he tells you in the beginning, well, they're criticizing us, they're criticizing the father, and they're criticizing law enforcement. So he always puts himself in the same boat with the innocent parent who is Seth.
Oh, so, such good insight. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you see, I have always a lot to say, so, but I don't want to talk too fast. So, you know, I think that there's, I mean, first of all, the panel, I didn't even watch them before. From the very beginning, I said, this is going to be horse shit. Sorry about my language, but this is, I'm not going to bother because the thing is, the real John Walsh 30 years ago would have never allowed the Proudfoots. Remember even a few years ago how he was about Brian Laundrie, the dirty laundries. Remember that. He is passionate about cases, but he got canceled. Now they give his son a chance to come back, and he is allowing this to happen. John Walsh would have back in the days when he had the ratings and the power, he would have never allowed this to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this was shocking. I don't know about you guys. What do you think? Let me know in the chat. But I was completely shocked. I was really flabbergasted by what happened. Really couldn't believe it. Honestly, couldn't believe it at all, to be quite honest with you. It's a whole different dynamic that was put out on that show. And I only watched it on a replay. I didn't even, you know, watch much of it.
So I knew. And they were all having different guesses. That's all these people were doing. And you know what was one of them really like hit the fan? I mean, it was like what did he say that? Oh, somebody who's familiar to Sebastian, but not to anybody else. How the hell do you come up with that?
I don't know.
Like that make yeah. Okay, now you talk because by the way, hi everybody. Okay.
No, absolutely. You're right about that. I thought that was ridiculous because the fact that this was done in such a veil of secrecy, right? Those lights in general, there's something going on behind the scenes. This was to me an orchestrated thing. And then for them to say, oh, that somebody else did it who's maybe unknown. No, I think that's people who are very known to Sebastian that want him the hell out of the picture. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
It's just like, it's wacky because when we had that one searcher that was out there and he was doing the most, and this other lady came on the panel and we talked about it like a week or two ago. There was a lot of weird stuff that went on with this searcher, and they had like a video the day before Sebastian went missing, and it kind of alluded to a child running away. And it was just really interesting. And when I was asking about that and asking questions and stuff, I'm like, is there any way that there's a third party that could have been connected and stuff? I mean, I was chased off these streets like you wouldn't believe, right? It was like, oh, no way. And so to hear it on America's Most Wanted and all that was very odd. It's really weird to me. I'm like, okay, what is that about? Because I know what the statements say. So I don't know. The statements allude to a lot of suspicion with the mother and the stepdad, really.
From the beginning, what's
in all of our opinions. I mean, I haven't seen one statement analysis that hasn't come up with the same opinion based on the statements.
stood out to me was, of course, the third. Then she introduced, did you fall out of bed? And at another point, she talked about social media, said, don't let his face fall to the bottom of the feet. And I thought that language is interesting. Let his face fall to the bottom. That is, I love it when you have two completely different statements about two completely different things, but the same type of language is being introduced. So I have from the beginning, my thought has been he fell out of bed, he was over-medicated, he couldn't sleep. That's why she keeps talking about how much sugar intake he had and so on, and he always had sleeping issues. And she is justifying, I think, that she over-medicated him for the reason she wanted to have a nice conversation with Chris Proudfoot without Sebastian being hurt in the back because Chris hated him. So I think that what is missed, first of all, they came back from Texas Roadhouse, before 7? And she skipped right from 7 to 9. She skipped 2 whole hours. And the language in previous interviews indicates there was a huge fight between them. Sebastian would not be able to go to sleep. And I am convinced she medicated the crap out of this boy. And he had just had dinner. Maybe he tossed and turned. Maybe he tried to vomit. I believe he actually fell out of bed. And I don't know if he died immediately, but that is where I am still. And there are so many statements that are supporting it. I hope I'm wrong, but
Yeah. No, that's a good point that you make, because that, hold on, I'm trying to remember, was this medication that he was on, was that a newer addition to his life? Because I feel like I've heard that before, but I don't know that it's ever confirmed.
Yeah, it was like it starts with an R, I forgot the name, but it was like a hardcore psychosis drug, right? I mean, it was something that I didn't expect.
Yeah, from what I heard,
Mike, it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
And that make you so drugged up, groggy, probably not even be able to walk very easily, especially if you're being over medicated. So I think that's a very, very good possibility. Yeah.
And also, I mean, if you have, I mean, we both have children, right? And my daughter fell out of bed one time, like a couple of years ago, and it was really, but she had a reflex and caught herself actually.
Wow.
But when you are over medicated, your whole body is limp.
Oh,
and your face will hit straight down to the floor to where it does create a thud. Your whole weight goes down. And that is what I believe happened to Sebastian. And I understand a lot of people think there was a handover, it was orchestrated, and they wanted to get rid of him. I'm not saying it's not possible. All I'm saying is this is where the language is leading me right now. And I'm going to, for now, stick with that one. That's been, I cannot,
Okay. No, I was going to say, so do you think there's relevance?
And I agree with what he's saying, by the way. I think that the language does depict all of that. So that's why I find it interesting. And I always hypothesize that there was supposed to be a handoff of some sort potentially. But then when Sebastian was when they were excuse me, I have the hiccups. When they're leaving the Texas Roadhouse and Sebastian was going towards that car where that whole green hoodie scenario was, I believe that at that moment his mom was actually pulling him back to not have him go. So I think something might have occurred possibly that, didn't have that plan where he was leaving or something. Something changed in my opinion. Uh-oh. Here we go again with this spinny wheel. Why are we doing the spinny wheel? Why are we doing the spinny wheel? This is odd.
I cannot. Yeah.
Okay. No, I was going to say, so do you think there's relevance then to the lights? Is that like, did she hand a possibly deceased Sebastian to somebody? How did she hide it is what I'm getting at. What in your opinion?
100%, because I mean the idiocy that we dealt with, where they say, oh, it's a trash truck and this and that, and Seth believes anything. But the thing is that it was, of course, not a coincidence that all of a sudden there are, at 3 a.m. there's a car with the live flashlights. I mean, of course, that was how they gotten rid of him. And I think it's very possible even Chris came down there because he said, he was asked, when was the last time that you saw Sebastian? And he said, I saw Sebastian in the beginning of February until I came home on the 26th. So he said, Chris Foot said that, and Chris Foot is not the brightest light in the sky. I mean, he sounds smarter at times because when he goes by Katie's script, he has a pretty good memory. He has much confidence when he speaks. And so
it's a new one. I haven't heard the brightest light in the sky. I like that one. I've heard, the brightest crayon in the box, the brightest bulb, right? The brightest light bulb, not the sharpest tool in the shed. That's a good one, Mike. I like that one.
In the sky. I mean, he sounds smarter at times because when he goes by Katie's script, he has a pretty good memory. He has much confidence when he speaks. And so from the beginning, he came off a lot smarter than he actually was. But as time went on, we realized what a dumbass, okay, I'm going to stop now. He really is, and what you see is, and I'm sorry, I'm saying all these things now because I had an overload on his voice. I mean, I have done a couple of reaction videos to interviews he's given. And I just realized when he is being himself, there's absolutely like nothing there. And he uses certain words like, what does he use? I'm not privy to that.
Oh,
because,
right.
You know why? You know why? Because he didn't know these words before Katie introduced them in a script. And so he's probably like, pervy, or me. And so she was a sweetheart. No, it's not pervy. Think about privileged, privileged information. Is a pervy, it's better. And so he probably went on, and that's probably how he remembers it. And there are a couple of other words. Now, what does it tell you when somebody uses only a handful of so-called smart words and reuses them again and again? It means he has a
It means to me a little bit of a lower IQ, extreme redundancy. Well, let's hear what Mike has to say.
He's a dumbass.
Right, he has a very small... it means he has a very small vocabulary, and these are the only smart words he knows because he just learned them. They're not part of his speech pattern.
Yeah. And they're really like $2 words. They're not even like $5 words. They're still pretty basic. But I think he's important when he says
it
them.
is.
Yeah.
It's like a $2 bill. Well, it's more like a phony baloney $3 bill because the $2 bills are kind of special, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're too tough for him, but he has a, he is the kind of person who has actually a pretty good memory, and he says things without actually understanding them. And I know quite a few people like that. So there are people who need to understand. Once they understand, they got it down, but he is not even, he's just like a repeater. You know what I mean? He's just like, okay.
Right. So,
so
who's the show behind the curtains, in your opinion? Is it Katie? Then?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
It's got
100%. 100% Katie.
And he's the spokesman. Chris.
Yes, and Katie likes men like that. Katie needs a guy who's confident. Katie, I think, is actually highly intelligent, like really, really intelligent.
Yeah.
And in the top, like 0.5% maybe. I
Like
really
Mensa?
believe that.
Like Mensa?
Yes.
Intelligent?
Oh, absolutely. And I also believe she's a genuine sociopath who had absolutely no problem beating the polygraph. And sociopaths are very able, and also you need in statement analysis, you need to treat a sociopath a lot differently because they are able to give very reliable statements when in reality they are lying. Yeah. And they give themselves away in other ways though. And she is terrified of being found out in general, meaning her whole house of cards, her whole life has been a lie since childhood. That's when the sociopathic tendencies tend to flourish. And so if you catch her in one lie, it is sort of that her whole life is coming apart. She is very meticulous. Like Chris Foot, he doesn't care if he's caught in he will repeat the lie and repeat it and repeat it. And then he'll say, I kicked your ass. And then he will say, he will, that's how he is, how he screams when Seth asked about Worshams, about his mother, because he is used to that. He's used to getting his way. He's used to intimidating people. Look, I bet you the neighbors have a lot of stories, but they are all scared of him. And even that neighbor Bobby said, I'm hiding. I'm like, what the hell? You're paying taxes. You bought a house. Why are you? But that's how people are. Most people are like that. So that works for him. He does what works for him.
Yeah. I could concur to that.
Let me ask you a question. His recent tirade, a lot of sexual talk. What's that all about? Is that just the only? Is that the only way he can express himself? Is going into the sexual talk? Like, what's up with that? In statement analysis.
Well, looking at his pattern, in this case, I have to always look at the regular pattern of a person. Does it stand out or does it not stand out? Is that how he normally talks with people? Is that how he talks with his friends? Is that how he approaches women? And I would say yes. So what I'm thinking is that he feels just very safe. And he probably has less of a social outlet now, because everywhere people know him and they suspect him. And so his outlet is now these stupid talks. And he says, I'm downstairs in my bar drinking and talking to you guys. That's what he said on one of these shows. And that is really, he's just being himself. He says he's a primitive guy. Whatever comes to his mind, that's what he says. He doesn't care who's listening.
Right. Yeah, he's a brute of a guy, huh? To me, he's kind of like an ogre, just really, he appears oversized in my opinion. And then he's got this shouting voice and he's always sounding off about something. He's just,
let's be crystal clear on that. That's clear. I know.
Right. It's troubling. It's worrisome because you think of a guy like that and how diabolical he could be to a person with special needs like Sebastian had.
And mind you, he is sensitive to noise. Sebastian is sensitive to noise, and he had to live with that. And I mean, the thing is, though, patterns develop very early in life, and he has developed a pattern based on what worked for him, probably intimidating others when he was a child. He wasn't smart enough to win an argument, but the moment that he threatened, he managed to get his ways. And we keep our patterns, they continue. If it works, we don't stop these patterns. We grow into them. And then as adults, we, that's our go-to mechanism. If nothing else works, that's where I go to. And when he shouted Seth down, I mean, that was cringy. And Seth said, oh, hey, come on, buddy, come on. I mean, I still think they got something on Seth, but I don't see how now finally Seth finally said enough is enough, because he realized that Chris didn't want the billboards up there. And I hope this is only the beginning. So people who are patting Seth on the back, I say, finally, about time, but now it has to continue. Only Seth can put the right type of pressure on law enforcement, go out there, advocate for his son, and they will have to do something because, but he is passive and he listens to, before he listened to some, low-level PIs. Now he listens to Tony Mattis. He does whatever he's told to do. He needs to step things up. Otherwise, he can do what he wants. But I'm saying to you, seriously, otherwise, I do not expect the case to ever be officially solved, ever.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Right now, it feels like the current law enforcement handling the case, almost like is it that they don't know what to do? Are they building their case? Like, I can't actually make heads or tails of what's going on now. It's confusing. I would have thought like right at about a year, something would, happen.
Yeah. No, I heard you say that a couple of months ago, and I thought about it, and then I said, no, why would they? I mean, why would they do that? Because the embarrassment, because the first 3 days, look, he said after 3 days, after 3 days, they said there was a 180 turnaround. Now, if you face away from the Proudfoot's home to the outside, if you do a 180, you look back at the Proudfoot's home. So that tells me they realized it was a Proudfoot's, but they already have missed all these chances. 3 days, they didn't. Yeah, and I mean, I think that the reason that Katie wasn't on speaker when Chris three-wayed that, he was able to tell them whatever, and later he can say, well, my wife was crying, I couldn't understand her properly, but he had a good script and told them, probably, who knows what he told them. Maybe he said, my neighbor just saw them, or he convinced them this was a runaway case. Mm-hmm. They treated it as such, and if they had to now revisit the case, I mean, imagine on the stand with the right defense lawyer. Think about the OJ trial and Dennis Funk. Totally. So they will, this will be so, they don't want to be embarrassed. And that Craddock guy, I mean, he's stringing people along. Yes. Because, I do not believe they have any intentions. And if things continue the way they are, in 20 years, it will still be called a mystery. But I mean, we know what happened, but it's not I don't think that law enforcement has any, I don't think even they want people to know what really went on, because it would also possibly expose some form of corruption, because maybe right. Chris called a friend at, and the friend at the police department, at the sheriff's department. Yes. And that would expose so many things. I do not think that they want this to be public, and they want the case kind of just to go away, and they think, well, Seth is kind of passive. I'm 100% sure they're talking to Tony quite a bit, because when Seth had his life and Tony said, like, Seth, tell them law enforcement is looking at somebody, right? And Seth said, yeah, right. And so Tony, I think that he's talking to them quite a bit, and he is sort of like, they're telling him maybe, and that's just my speculation, of course, but they're telling him maybe, look, we're going to work with you. It's going to be good for all of us if we just keep Seth thinking that everything is progressing, because, for whatever reason. But this is where I am at right now. And after a year of looking at this case, I always try to prove myself wrong. Yeah. And when I can't, and in statement analysis, you have to do that. You have to always go with the what if. And when you are stuck on one thing and nothing else makes more sense, then you can sort of walk this path, but you always have to, you can never have a preconceived notion. And most of all, you cannot be on any team. People, you cannot be on a team. I'm glad you're saying that. If you are on the team, you will compromise your own mind, because everybody says you cannot say this about Seth. You can what you say? I cannot say what? I will say what I want, especially on my channel, because you know what? People actually, I didn't know how many people actually would agree with some of the things I have said recently, because they are silent and people are being silenced by the so-called green team. Just because you post green hearts doesn't give you the right to tell others what not to say. So I'm always surprised whenever somebody tries to censor me. I know immediately people are censored. There are more people out there who think along the same lines. So people don't ever argue with these kinds of hate channels or nothing, because you are only aiding them. That's what they want. You know, you got to be fact-based and just, you know, okay, please interrupt me. I'm doing
No, I get what you're saying completely. And I've noticed, like, on Twitter, oh my gosh, you put out a post, you know, talking about the parents, and you instantly get attacked. Oh, you must be a green team, or oh, F said that pedophile. You know what I mean? It's just, there's always something after you because they associate you with being part of some team. It's like, no, I have independent thoughts about this case that have nothing to do with being on any team.
I concur. I concur. I concur. I concur. Everybody that knows me knows I have never been on a team, and I never will be on a team other than whatever we're discussing for a case. If we're talking about a case and we're looking at a case, there's no team. This is craziness at this point. Really, it's next level, and it's actively interfering, in my opinion, with the investigation. In my opinion, I do really feel like it has. I do. It's chased everybody off from speaking their truth. Anything that you may want to say or you may hear or might be helpful, you know, you're going to get a slew of people taking it out of context, being upset, offended, and running you off. I mean, everybody's acting like we're the suspects. It's really bizarre. It's really bizarre.
Absolutely. I'm pro Sebastian, and that's it.
Amen.
As for Seth, I don't know Seth. I don't know what his life has been like. I don't know if he's a good person or bad person, but I'm 100% sure he had absolutely not only nothing to do with the case, with the disappearance. He 100% doesn't know anything about it. And also, I am convinced he loves his son, wants him back, and his emotions that he displays are absolutely real. So
totally,
you have to differentiate. You cannot say, I like this person, you know. I mean, look at JLR, what he did.
It's about truth.
You know, he doesn't like Seth. And before, he was on the right track with the Proudfoots. And all of a sudden, his next video, the title says, Seth Rogers suspect. So he knows the truth, but is lying purposefully, in my opinion, allegedly, sorry. And how people can do that, I don't understand. I am interested in solving the case, and that's it. So I don't care if I like you or don't like you. This is about the facts as they come to me and present themselves to me, and the language that these people are using.
Yes, exactly. And it doesn't have anything to do with having to stay loyal to some side. It's more about what are the facts as we know them right now, and go in the direction that the facts lead you.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And in this, in this panel, this America's Most Wanted panel of people, I feel like they were deprived the knowledge to know the facts. There was no mention of CPS reports. There was no mention there being marital discord, right, between Katie and Chris. There was no mention of a lot of different factors that were so important to understand the context in which he vanished.
Absolutely.
Without knowing the context, you're going to assume, it was some freak in the night that might have been unknown by the family, right? But when you know, it's different.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I have so much on my mind, but the thing, okay, I'm going to calm down. You see, I had a lot of coffee, like, remember? So I had a...
That's good.
I cannot wait until we can hear everything that Mike thinks. You know, I pray every day for that day, because I think he's on the ball. You know, he's really, I mean, for me personally, he's really encouraged me to continue studying the psychology behind everything, because I've been, you know, a behavioral analysis junkie, a statement analysis junkie. This is just right up my alley. It has been since I was a little kid. And it's just really encouraging that there's still people that stick by their own truth, and they don't care. They're not intimidated. They're not, you know, bullied, so to speak, right?
No, I mean, okay, here's what I think about this. This one guy, I forgot what his name is. He has a podcast. I think he knows a lot. And I think the lawyers from the beginning made sure certain things cannot be mentioned. So the others, like Callahan, in my opinion, they were just making shit up. I'm sorry. I think so, because they don't worry about the case either. What they're worried about is getting ratings and getting AMW back on the air. And Callahan Walsh wants to have a career and step in his father's footsteps. You know what I mean? And so they're concerned that the intention is always what is the most important thing to me. Yeah. And to me, the intention detection is a huge part of statement analysis. Once I know your intention, I don't need to know all of the details, but I know now I can dismiss you, and I know I'm not going to miss any valuable information. And so, like I said, I did not listen. I knew I would skip this part. I didn't want to hear what any of them had to say. I knew.
I know.
You know.
I felt the same way. I was like, I don't think this is going to be worthy of listening.
Not at all.
To it.
I listened because of you. So
complete. I got you. Well, and same here, Mike. I mean,
I
found a lot of value in your statement analysis, on your channel. Also, what you say on Twitter is always very interesting. Makes me think twice, about different aspects of this case. And anybody who's in here, go subscribe to Mike Dammann. Make sure, if you could, please, one of my mods, would you put his link to his channel?
I'll put the link back in chat.
Yeah, and I'll put it also in the show notes,
in the description,
so that way people can look into your channel and stuff, because it's very valuable information.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about? I mean, where are you now with this case? I mean, what makes the most sense to you? I'm curious. What
sense? As in, what is? Are you asking? What is my theory? What is the future looking like? Is it going to start to fade out? Like, what do you think?
What do you think may have happened to Sebastian? Do you think it was premeditated?
I do think it was premeditated. So far, I do. A lot of that has to do with the fact that we're here a year later. If it wasn't premeditated, I think they would have found something so early on and immediately arrested the parents. But the fact that it seems like everything was in place, like they had to have been using burner phones. There was some way they were interacting.
Oh yeah, Trish, I agree.
Being conversational with one another to totally evade authorities the way they have, Mike. Like, this would have happened probably month one. They would have been arrested. Do you got me? So this has to have been a well-orchestrated, very well-planned disappearance. I don't think it was like, she just went crazy one night, kills him, and then there's absolutely no evidence, no arrest yet. At least that's what what's his name says, Chris, all the time. There's no evidence.
No evidence whatsoever. No evidence whatsoever. Yeah, he is he repeats himself all the time. I mean, he that's how he is. Well, I'm just seeing the chat right now. I wasn't able to see the chat. I always like it to see what people are. Yeah. Coffee is life. Yes, coffee is life. I agree with you. Who was that? Soybean. Okay.
So Mike, to answer your question, I think it was well orchestrated, well planned. It had to have been, or they would be locked up right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to ask you these questions, because then it's your channel, and it's better if you don't. But I'm always interested in what people, who was in the car, who were the lights.
Yeah, who were the lights? So far, and I've said this before, and people who have been around my channel for a while probably already know, but I believe it was his immediate family members more than I believe it was actually him. Though I do suspect that he could have gotten away from the area he was staying in, Memphis/Mississippi, I believe it was.
Yeah.
It's very possible he could have borrowed a car.
Oh, of course, because he always says my 360. We have premium 360. Don't talk about my family. Don't talk about my mama. I have premium 360. I get tracked everywhere I go. Not my truck. I mean, it's all vivid. I just can't anymore with this. This is why I wanted to listen to this and get a little break. I mean, I don't listen to these channels and these interviews very often as it is, but it's disturbing because there's no excuse for the behaviors. There's no excuse for them.
Driven there, whatever. But more than anything, I think it's mom and stepdad of his.
Okay.
And let me tell you why I think that. I think the way they have behaved, the way they have acted around Seth is very suspicious. Like there was one story I remember
A little bit.
He told me about where I think it was the very first vigil for Sebastian.
Mhm.
The Bowersox pull up. They see
we all
Seth,
can agree.
like standing outside or something. They look at him and then they back out of the parking space that they're in.
Yeah.
So they make eye contact with him and it's like they dip out. To me, that would suggest there could be some sort of a guilty knowledge or they were directly involved to the point that they don't want to deal with Seth head on.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because there's some sort of guilt. Yeah.
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 Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. No, you go ahead because I think the glasses that were found, they were 0.3 miles away from the house of Terry and Kathy Bowersox, 0.3 miles away. And Seth, I believe him the first time when he said they looked similar. Now Seth said, I don't remember. It's been 3 weeks since I saw Sebastian. Well, did you ask for footage? Did you take a picture of them? Come on, man. So this is why I'm getting like, Seth, you need to wake up.
Yeah.
But this, the thing is, I believe him the first time when he said they looked similar. And the glasses I saw, I think it's highly possible they were actually Sebastian's glasses. So the property of the Bowersoxes is, in my opinion, that is the place where I would, or the extended family, the junkyard or whatever they have. But the statements that Chris made, like on his Facebook one time, a long time ago, like, don't mess with a blue collar man because we have access to acid.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Sorry.
No, please, you go ahead. I just couldn't believe it either.
And remember when Chris Foot said something about there are so many missing children and the police, it has to be equally dissolved. He didn't say dispersed, equally dissolved. And that comes from experiential memory. And I looked up the definition of, and I looked up acidic gas dissolved in water. What does it do? And here is into thin air. He disappeared into thin air. Here is that one. That's where I'm. That is, I have my theory, but I'm always flexible. But it's just such misery, and where he didn't, when I was 15, I remember when putting myself into these types of shoes, I would have run away. I would have run away barefoot in the middle of the night. Trust me. You know what I mean? I would have not been able to. That sounds like torture to me, man. This golden cage that he lived in, where no friends and no anything. God, man. I mean, that's why. And when Katie said he needs to live the life he deserves to live, she's telling us he'd never lived the life he deserves to live. And I believe that what she is doing is justifying whatever she did because she felt like his life was not worth living.
Right.
And that's what people do. They justify through their language. Their language can lead us towards what they have done by what they are trying to justify. So she's done it so many times, and I've never seen a case with that many red flags where no arrest has been made yet. Never.
That's what I'm saying too. That's what leads me to think it was so well planned out, because otherwise it's just the most obvious case in the world if you know the factors that led up to this.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean how absolutely. And how can people think that these lights at night, all of that is a coincidence? That this that the car pulls up and there's two people, one is running back to the house. How can people think this is just one of those things? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
where people always say, you think too much. It's one of those, no, you know, and people accept anything as a coincidence. And yeah, with the flashlight, you're 100% correct. She or Chris or Terry or somebody took a flashlight from the house, and she knew for a fact that item was no longer in the house. So that was one of the things that she mentioned was missing, the flashlight.
Right.
You know?
And Mike, you tell me, are you going to notice a little tiny nothing burger flashlight is missing when your kid is like, do you think you would notice a detail like that?
I wouldn't.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely. You have no idea what I'm missing, you know, like with my daughter, when she tries to get dressed and tries to ask me where is this, where is this, where is that? And I'm like, I don't have no damn idea, you know, you figure it out. So I would not know.
I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't.
No.
But she knew for a fact that this one particular item is missing. So somebody put it in his pockets and took it with him when he took off from that house. So she knew for a fact that item is no longer in the house. And that was experiential memory, where she goes back to it and says, but we need to, you know, and when the statement by Melissa was like, oh, he left with no shoes and his glasses. Okay, the glasses may have been lost along the way. So if somebody finds them, you know, that's kind of the thought pattern right there. The glasses for sure were missing. They may have, you know, been dropped, and they said, okay, the glasses are gone. We're going to mention that. There is a reason for everything that's unnecessary. And that's all she said. He left with no shoes, his glasses, and a flashlight. Was he wearing anything? Didn't mention it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What am I looking for? Am I looking for a naked 15-year-old with a flashlight in his hands and some glasses on?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. You know, this is already like, just take a picture of him. What was that one?
Oh, that was ridiculous.
I forgot.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, shucks. I don't remember, Mike.
Don't approach him. Don't talk to him. Just take a picture and then call 911. What? I let him run away? I don't stick with him? Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're so right. And I gave an example on Twitter about this. So I have a huge turtle. Okay. He's a African spur. He's
wow.
5 pounds. He got out of our yard probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And I didn't realize it because it probably happened at 6 p.m. And through the night, he must have wandered off like a really long distance, because the next day I posted an
I don't know what's going on. This is very odd. The StreamYard's froze. This froze. Everything's freezing. Can you hear me yet? Can you hear me now?
That's so concerning.
Oh no.
Again, they've never
that
even
works.
done luminol in the home. Or what is it? Amino black. Is that the same thing? I think it is.
Yeah.
Enforcement accountable to not completely drop his case. Probably about 2 or 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I
Let me
didn't.
go to the
Like, was he
turtle.
wearing anything? Didn't mention it. You know what I mean?
Good point.
What am I looking for? Am I looking for a naked 15-year-old with a flashlight in his hands and some glasses on?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. You know, this
Right.
is already like, and what was this thing about no urgency? If you see him, just take a picture of him. What was that one? I forgot.
I'm trying to remember. Oh shucks, I don't remember, Mike.
Don't.
That was when they acted like Sebastian. You know, they were saying that the autism diagnosis and making it as if he was going to run from you. And it was interesting in the beginning.
Approach him. Don't talk to him. Just take a picture and then call 911. What? I let him run away? I don't stick with him? Yeah, go ahead.
Completely. No, you're so right. And I gave an example on Twitter about this. So I have a huge turtle. Okay, he's a African spur. He's
Oh,
probably
wow.
55 pounds. He got out of our yard probably about 2 or 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't realize it because it probably happened at 6 p.m. And through the night, he must have wandered off like a really long distance. Because the next day, I posted a thing on Facebook, like a post that said, "Hey, this is my turtle. This is what he looks like. I went to look for him. He's not in the yard. Please help me find him." So here's where I think Katie completely went wrong in this whole deal. Is when, for example, when somebody found my turtle, I said, "Please stay there with him. Don't leave him. My husband will be right there to pick him up." Well, Katie never said that in that post. Wouldn't you want to make sure that if your child is missing, they're unaccounted for, right? They're out. You don't know where the hell they are. And somebody comes across them, you're gonna be like, "Hey, please stay with them. Don't leave their side. I'll be right there." But they never said that.
That's exact. And that neighbor, of course, was full of it. And Katie knew it. And that is a whole different story about it that I'm not going to get into. But people want attention and they will come up with stuff. And when they are proven wrong, they still don't want to. They say, "What do you mean? You think my siding is not valid?" And they will defend it even when they know they're wrong. And that's one of those kind of neighbors that she was. I analyzed part of that statement, and it turned out the information I gotten later absolutely correct. This woman that was a different boy, they didn't let him go. He wasn't Sebastian. And they stopped him and he said, "Damn it, I'm not Sebastian, let me go." And but then police told him, no, that's from what I remember, that the police said, "Come on, let this boy go. I promise you it's not Sebastian." And still that woman would swear up and down that she saw Sebastian. But she actually only said he was a few feet. She didn't say she talked to him, or she didn't say, the statement is like, it's already like so clear. But Susan just asked in chat about where the glasses were found. They were on Clutch, I believe it's Clutch Drive or Clutch Court or Hutch, I think Clutch Court. And that is 0.3 miles from the home of the Bauer Success. I Google mapped that, and I looked at exactly the location where it was. And, I don't have a picture of the glasses, and nobody has anything. And says that, "Oh, he tried, law enforcement wouldn't pick up." Damn. He had the direct line, but they wouldn't even pick up the phone when he wanted to turn in the glasses. So by that time, they already knew, that something was, they already knew what's up, and they wanted the case to go away, in my opinion. But,
I think the best thing we've done is and even through all the drama, is keep his name out there because it still is in some way, shape, or form holding law enforcement accountable to not completely drop his case. Because I feel, honest to God, if there would have been no media spotlight on this case, it would have been donezo like a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
Just a blip on the radar. But today, because of the drama, it keeps it at least alive. You know what I mean?
And yes, and yeah, absolutely. And so people, everybody in chat, please share this video, share it on your Twitter or Facebook, wherever you are. And we are not that present because we need to support anybody, any channel that keeps it informative. Where, you know, because the thing to do is not to go into their chat and argue with them. Share the truth and let it speak for itself, because people need their first impression of the case needs to be the right impression. Their first impression cannot be, he's 15 years old, he's 15 years old, he's tall and skinny. He's, you know, it cannot be Katie Proudfoot who introduces Sebastian to the public, because then immediately people get the feeling, oh, these look, and they gave Chris Foot a big makeover to make him look a little more, I don't know, even
attractive, youthful. I don't know. I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah.
A little more harmless. Let's say it like.
Soften his look a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, with the hair too. That's like kind of like he looks.
Fred Flintstone. I heard somebody call him Fred Flintstone. I thought that was so funny.
Exactly. Or a guy who's wearing his hair like that, he couldn't do anything to anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the whole thing is there has been so much conditioning, and even me in the beginning, I kind of followed the case, and I realized how much wrong information I had already received without, you know, and that's why Chris Foot and Katie, especially with her script, is very proactive, telling us from the beginning, go outside the search radius and do this, and they are already, and this is why the only thing that can be done is that we share facts, and we need to expand our circle to reach more people with this, you know. That's.
Yeah, I agree. You know what, Mike? Now that I'm thinking about it, I want to tell you something real quick. I came across a post. I have not mentioned this at all in public. I don't even know if anybody knows about this. Let me find it. Let me find it.
Probably not.
Oh shoot, where did I put it? Hang on. Okay, so I didn't do a very good screenshot of this, but I'll read it to you. So Chris has it's like a Facebook fan club, if you will, and it's called Chris is Innocent. Okay, so if you go to Chris is Innocent on Facebook, there's
the beginning
that wrote to Chris on there, and it says Chris Proudfoot is we'll say unaliver, but with the M word. Fact, you can tell him David Davison is going to tell on him where he placed the body, which I believe is 27.27 miles in Westmoreland. Tell him Janine knows Joel Wolf, Richard Bishop, and the other players. You let that lying pig know I have his number. And that was left on there. I tried to kind of further investigate. It didn't get very far. I don't know if this lady's even, you know, valid or legitimate, but it was interesting the names she was throwing out, because these are names I've never heard associated with Chris or this case. And it just kind of caught me by surprise. What do you make of it? You think it's just nonsense?
Can you read me the first line, the first sentence?
Yeah, hang on. It is Chris Proudfoot is a murderer. Fact, and you can tell him David Davison is going to tell on him where he placed the body, which I believe is 27.27 miles in Westmoreland. Now, I was looking geographically at this area, right? Westmoreland is, I believe, just north. Hold on, is it northwest? Just a little northwest of Hendersonville, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, northwest, right? Chris talks about northwest all the time, right? Oh, I forgot. What was the name of that county? Davison County, or what? What was the name of the county?
Shoot. I can't remember.
Because Chris told some people, look northwest, but northwest is also towards Clarksville. And, remember that nudge. But okay, Chris Proudfoot is a murderer. That's what it said, right? So what I am missing from the statement, what I am missing is a definitive Chris Proudfoot killed Sebastian. And that's not what the person, so it's a pretty vague statement. So why wouldn't the person say, Chris Proudfoot is responsible for Sebastian's death? That's what I expect somebody who has real information to say. So I don't know, I'm not.
Yeah. Oh, no, I understand. And then these names that are thrown out there, specific names, Joel Wolf, Richard Bishop, and the other players. Like there's a whole, like a group of cronies that, did this. I don't know. It's weird. So I figured it could be nonsense, but it's worth.
Yeah, it's worth looking at it. Of course it is. And I'm always interested, in the Clarksville nudge from Katie and, Chris saying Northwest. But there's another place where supposed to be a pair of pants was found. I don't know. There's so many things that are coming that I have not had time to look at them in details, you know what I mean? But when I let the words guide me, and you when you analyze anything, you assume the person is going to tell you the truth, but you allow the language to talk you out of it. So when you go into reliable statements, you zoom in and say, okay, I'm going to stick with this one. But if it is not, and there are so many statements where, he is a murderer, really? Who did he kill? You didn't tell me that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the body is out there. Did he say Sebastian's body, or did he just say the body? I mean, it needs to be specific.
Right. To be effective, like for it to be more legitimate, I would say. It has to. To keep on traveling down that road, you know what I mean? To say, okay, here's a new path I have to travel until I say, no, I'm going to look at something else. You know what I mean? Because it's just not, I don't know. I would have to look at it more specifically. And I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you so you can actually do it and get an idea. Who knows? Maybe you could do something on it if you wanted to. But it was worthy of noting. I just thought, wow.
I scan over things pretty quickly, because it's now second nature. It's really, even when people send me emails, I scan through them. I mean, it's kind of like second nature where you immediately see red flags and where it's like, and it's very helpful in everyday life. Statement analysis is very helpful in business, everything, because you save so much time. Because people are full of it everywhere, and the intention detection is the most important. What is the person's intention? People can say the wrong thing. People make mistakes, but the intentions are always what's utmost important, because then you can, Wow, how is the chat doing? Oh my God, there's so many questions I missed. Thank you guys. Hey, does anybody else want to call in? I'm sorry to take away so much time from you guys.
Oh, it's good. I've appreciated our chat here. And I will say, if you guys want to call in, let me put the number down, or I'm trying to determine, would it be better for them to just come up on the panel and talk? What do you think, Mike? Because if you stay on and we invite people up, but we have to keep it to brief. For anybody who comes up to talk to us, it's got to be like 5 minutes, so we can at least for a few people, hopefully. So,
and I will mute myself and only chime in if I really have something to say. Otherwise, I shut up.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and invite people up. Let me grab them the link and see what they have to say. Here we go. Guys, I'm putting that link in right now. If you want to come up and air your opinion, what do you think about the America's Most Wanted Sebastian Rogers episode? What is your opinion, your take? Please, that's what we would like to hear. And in the meantime, go ahead.
In a minute, you're going to be like, oh, this is Chris Proudfoot. I'm going to make crystal clear. No.
Oh, that's so true. He could come up, he'd start cussing us out. And that is possible, right? I mean, he sure can. And he might. You never know. He's crazy. He's crazy. Okay, I will read these comments while we wait. All right. It is what it is says, every time Katie says Chris wasn't there, it's like she's bragging. She did it. And I believe she did because she made her choice between Chris and Sebastian. Interesting.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
Very interesting, actually.
Heartbreaking.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I need to really shut up. But also, I think it's also immediately she establishes an alibi. She said February 25th, the day before he went missing. She always wants to make this, he went missing on the 26th and Chris wasn't there. So it's also the creation of that's a priority,
That's
like the
true.
alibi, you know what I mean? But it's a very interesting point that she also has proven her love to him. So, okay, I'm going to mute myself again. You go on.
Okay. Oh, good. Prickly Pear says, I am so enjoying this live. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prickly Pear. I really appreciate your insight, your comment. Guys, while you're in here, could you please hit the like button? That would be so helpful to get the information out there and this really good discussion. I've really enjoyed talking to Mike today. He's full of value, knowledge, and a great asset. I think he and Donna and a few others are very valuable in this true crime space. There's a lot of really good insight they offer. Okay, Tina says, Chris wouldn't subject himself to Mike. He knows Mike is much smarter than him, in my opinion. I agree, Tina. Yeah.
Maybe Katie would be like, Chris, honey, please.
Yeah. That's so funny. Hey, CNY family. CNY family has great insight as well. I recommend her channel. I actually, man, CNY, what was it, a week or two ago when you had played the ridiculous tirade that Chris was on? Remember where he's talking about Brittany and the, what's that she couldn't get, you know what I'm talking about. He was saying the most obscene stuff, guys. And anyway, CNY captured it. She screen recorded it. If you haven't listened to it, you've got to listen to that to really understand the gutter that Chris's mind is. It's a deep gutter, guys.
Oh my God. I haven't listened to it, but I read part of it about the baby something. Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God, dude.
Can you believe he said that? Something about fellatio to a fat baby's where.
Yeah, and I mean, how does your mind even go there? It's just kind of like, wow, dude.
Crazy. It's crazy, especially when you consider the fact that his stepson is missing. He shouldn't even think about ridiculous things like that, let alone say them in public.
I never thought about things like that.
No.
I mean, it's like,
it's insane.
It doesn't matter, Oh my God.
It's so insane. Oh, somebody's up. Okay, CNY is here. Let me add her onto the stage. Hey, CNY, I'm glad you came on.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hi.
Good. What are your thoughts about all this insanity in America?
Hold on, I just gotta mute my.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, awesome. So, CMY, what are your thoughts on this most recent?
Lord.
Oh man, I can't wait to hear it.
I'm sorry. On the
Wait, what? I still think that he didn't make it home as well, but I also see from a bunch of the statements where Mike Dammann is coming from. So it's hard to know. It's hard to know. Because I think Katie stopped Sebastian when they were leaving the Texas Roadhouse. I'm up in the air on it. But I understand. Wait, what?
most recent what?
Oh, episode, the America's Most Wanted episode that was Sebastian's episode. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, yeah, there were a few things that stood out to me during that episode. And one of the things was, and I had mentioned it in one of my previous videos, was the box that they had taken Sebastian's stuff out of. Yeah, and immediately everybody's main comment was, well, they did this at Airbnb, so they had to box up his stuff to bring it. But if you notice, every time they're on camera, or every time they have a camera in their presence and they're talking about Sebastian, they bring out these little toys. These little toys and all of his pictures.
Oh my God,
and I feel like
you're right.
I mean, Yeah, my honest opinion is like that's Sebastian's box. I think those photos and those toys live in that box, and that's what they, you know what I mean? Like that's Sebastian's stuff, and that's like the remainder of what they have of Sebastian. You know what I mean?
Yes, completely.
So they bring it out as like this ploy and as this little show, and that really kind of got to me.
Sure. Hey, was it the first interview or was it Olivia, Chronicles of Olivia's interview? That wasn't there some toys hanging around that one?
Yes, it was those same toys.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Nothing.
The largest manhunt in Tennessee history for a child. There's nothing out there.
Speculating causes problems. Assumptions cause issues.
No, like we have a camera there, neighbor has a camera. I mean, everything's checked out. I don't want to put anything out there, like just suspecting, like if somebody pulled in the back. And
I don't want to speculate. I don't want to. It's because it's an active investigation.
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to add any more.
Yeah.
like there's no cameras in the backyard or anything like that, so it's really hard to even suspect anything right now as far as how she could have left. Because we have driveway back there from the new townhomes, but it's so hard to tell.
It's hard to say until we can run down this video and figure out what we're seeing.
Okay, so you know what? I want to read what because what she's saying here is so very important.
Yes.
Okay, so she says all of them use words such as suspect, evidence, proof, and guilty.
Yes.
Oftentimes, in a context where the word doesn't quite fit right, a sign of a subconscious slip rather than the word they were actually looking for.
Exactly.
Thing out there, like just suspecting, like if something like some.
For me to give you a designated area would suspect that we think he's in an area. Well, we don't know.
Suspect anything right now as far as how she could.
The best part about it is he has managed to do this without any evidence left behind whatsoever.
Right.
So far, we haven't found him on any camera footage to prove where he's at.
Proof.
Absolutely zero evidence.
There's who's guilty and who's not guilty.
Okay, very important. CW and KP speak of the missing people as if they are remembering them at a memorial rather than calling for action to help. God, that's a good note.
So true.
So true. Let me real quick say thank you so much, Willow, of Above and Beyond Ancestor Readings. She wrote, "You rock. Wish I could stay and support some more, but heading out to dinner. Jump on the super chat train, y'all." Thank you so much for the support. I really, really appreciate you. And by the way, I need to tell everybody, if you want really sound, what do you call it? Analysis, we'll say.
Statement analysis, yeah.
Yeah. And for Willow, she does excellent with the Brian Koberger case, the Idaho 4 case. She'll go over legal documents, and she was, I guess, in the, dealing with the legal world in Canada for like 30 years. So she understands everything. So if you want a really good channel to go to, also go to Above and Beyond Ancestor Readings. Again, thank you so much, Willow, for the super chat. I really appreciate it so much. Thank you. Okay, here we go.
When they usually
So nice.
It was just like, I miss them.
It's so nice to hear these new channels. Mike just showed a new channel. He's been Plunder, Plunder, that he's been showing on his channel. So I really enjoy that because I've been looking for people that are not, doing this whole team stuff to the extent that it seems like a lot of people are. And I'm not talking about channels. A lot of it's just kind of A lot of it's the subs, really, right?
Like, I mean, I miss telling, hey, you got to eat that or you're not going to get your dessert, you know, and just like you're not going to get your snack after. I miss that. Like,
I miss, him trying to eat all the sweets instead of dinner. I miss him stealing my Brussels sprouts.
Mike, this is blowing my mind. The similarities.
Yeah.
Okay. So she says here, these two statements are so eerily similar. There really aren't words. You know what? I want to hear that just one more time because I think it's very important. Just a second. Listen to what numbskull Chris Watts says.
you know, when they usually eat dinner, it was just like, I miss them. Like, I mean, I miss telling, hey, you got to eat that or you're not going to get your dessert, you know, and just like, you're not going to get your snack after. I miss that. Like,
I miss, him trying to eat all the sweets instead of dinner. I miss him stealing my Brussels.
God, like you're reading off the same script, Mike. Crazy.
Yeah.
I wanted to see this kid run in, just barrel rush me and just give me a hug and knock me on the ground. But
Even though if I'd be able to speak, I'd probably bulldoze
Bulldoze
him
him.
with hugs.
Yeah, bulldozer.
You said all of them occasionally speak.
yeah, because like Bella was going to start kindergarten.
Sorry, I missed.
No, that's fine. All of them occasionally speak of
Yeah,
them
'cause-
in past tense.
Yes.
Yeah, because like Bella was going to start kindergarten next Monday.
Sebastian wasn't very much like he didn't go outside very much.
He prefers to play. He prefers to play inside. Because it was typical for him to get up and come.
That was a really big slip of the tongue right there.
Very
both
much.
Both of them speaking about him in past tense. Like,
Exactly.
holy smokes, blows my mind.
But Katie, I have no, yeah,
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I have no doubt she's watching my channel because she learned so much. She used Sebastian's name. She's completely different now in her interviews, and she changed little by little. And all the things that I pointed out, all the obvious things, she has adjusted. Now she uses Sebastian's name twice in one sentence. And before, like in a huge interview, not even once. You know what I mean? So she's learning.
Yeah, she's learning. You're right. She's adjusting accordingly. Okay, it says here, CW and CP both speak of empty rooms as if they know rooms won't be occupied by the missing person again. All right.
Like the bed comment that was just made by the siblings in Canada's mom. Remember the empty beds? And then Chris Watts' comment.
And let's see here.
She words it really well.
To be here last night and to go into their rooms and know that I wasn't going to turn the rain machines on. And I know that I wasn't going to turn their monitor on. No, I wasn't getting to bed tonight. It was that's why last night was just horrible. I couldn't do it.
Is it me or is there a smirk? There's a smirk, right?
I just.
What?
We have a better entity that is never.
Chris Watts. Oh my gosh, he's so difficult to watch. He's smiling ear to ear while he's talking about never seeing the kids in their rooms again. And he's just smiling, like just jovial, happy guy. Huh? He makes no sense. But of course it does because he was guilty of sin.
Sometimes you can ask people also, like you can turn off the volume in these interviews and ask people, what do you think they're talking about? I mean, now, and nobody will guess a missing child, you know, a missing family. Nobody would. They would think he's talking about a baseball game or something, you know?
That's such a good point. Yeah, you're right.
Normally ever empty.
You know what? Hold on, let me pull that out just here so you can see what
is. We have a bedroom that's empty that is never normally ever empty.
Hey, did you catch that, Mike? He was just about to say, oh my God, I've never caught this before. He was just about to say He was just about to say is never going to be filled again.
Yeah.
Oh, let me hear this.
Oh yeah. I cannot believe I've never caught that before.
Before we play this part, I'm just going to share the link to that full podcast with Chris Proudfoot, where he was saying, you know, some really off the chart. Oh my gosh, I got the hiccups. Some really off the charts things. And it's right here. And there was a statement about babies and yeah, exactly what was discussed, you know, 10 minutes ago, maybe 15 minutes ago.
Hold on. Right here. Pay attention because he slips his words.
We have a bedroom that's empty that is never, normally ever empty.
He was about to say, oh my God, I know it. He was about to say it's never be filled again.
And you know what? He said he then tried to make it sound like he was gonna say it's never empty, but it's empty 4 days of the month. You know what I mean? So he was gonna say it's never gonna be filled again. Absolutely.
1,000,000%. Oh my gosh, how did I never catch that? Okay, let's play it one more time. Krista says again. Okay, let's watch again. Okay.
We have a bedroom that's empty that is never, normally ever empty.
Never, normally, never empty. Okay, hold on. Okay, number 10, CW and CP want us to focus on, quote, the positive. Translation, quote, don't focus on me.
I really hope that all this can lead to something positive.
Activity.
Oh my God.
You try to make it a positive thing.
Oh my gosh.
If she's vanished, like, I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad.
I want to find him so bad.
Mike, what was it about that 1 year interview with Katie that was so insufferable? Oh my gosh. Did you feel the same way, Mike?
Yeah.
With her?
Yeah, it was, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way she looked, the way it's the expression on her face, the way everything just, and this is a big one. I want her back so bad because you're overdoing it. You want your son back, of course. You want your son back. You're supposed to want your son back. You don't have to. It's like when Scott Peterson said my marriage was glorious. You don't overdo it. Don't give us selling points. So
What happened here?
so bad. No.
What is going on? It's almost over.
No, that's not how you
Quick clip of Letitia Stout.
talk. If your child is missing, you don't say, I want my child back so bad. You don't put that energy into those words. Your energy will be about, you will keep your words short and to the point and don't say unnecessary things because your mind is on where is your child.
Right.
You know, these people have time to create flowery language to sell us a narrative.
Oh, it's awful.
And you know, too,
narratives, right?
There's not enough time when we're talking about a child who's unaccounted for. Like, I don't have time to create flowery language if it's missing, right? But they
and you have
bullshit.
Yes. You don't have time. You don't have time to come up with a eulogy. You don't think about the future. Where am I going to search next? Not what was he doing? He was stealing my Brussels sprouts. What the hell does this have to do with anything?
Oh my gosh, so true. And the fake accent. Thank you, Mar. Mar says, for a fake accent. Yeah. I can't even believe it still. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
There's no malice, so we just want our boy home. That.
Oh my God, her face, man.
Oh, I know. It's really hard, isn't it, to watch?
There's no malice because you would ever say that there's no malice.
Okay, she says, and finally, number 12.
Oh, the smile.
Yes, the
Oh, my God.
hand movement.
Oh, yes.
She says, and he's already.
Yep.
He is already, she's going to say.
Yeah.
The gesturing
hand around
of
the
the
neck.
neck.
Yeah.
Like he had the life snuffed out of him. In his case, this was likely due to experiential memory of strangulation.
I don't know if she strangled Sebastian. I don't know.
I think it's what Donna said about a hit on the head. I would not be surprised. And it could have been the drugging before that. You know what I'm saying?
I think, yeah.
Very possible. Oh, man.
It really is, KJ, isn't it? Just watching the facial expressions and hearing the statements, it's like nauseating now. It really is. I can't help it. That's why I found it, to be a little bit of a treat that I didn't hear this all yet. Like I was listening to it, but I didn't get to absorb it all because I need a break. I need to hear somebody else. It's just a lot, and I hardly even listen. Some people are doing it every day. I pray for Mike. I don't know how Mike's doing it. I'm praying for you, Lisa and Tom.
I love that video. You know what? I'm going to repost that later. So guys, if you wanted to watch it again, you can go to my Twitter. The Twitter link is on my on my YouTube page, by the way. Well, it doesn't seem like anybody else is going to come up. So I guess we can, finish for the day. But actually, in your case, night. What is it? Is it 2 a.m. there, Mike, or what?
Wait a minute. It's.
Oh. And here we go again. This is the most bizarre thing.
No, 3.
Oh my God.
3:33.
Holy cow.
What the hell? 3 is a liar's number. By the way, those are generalizations in statement analysis. Don't, But they say 3 is a liar's number. And today's Saturday the 3rd. That's what it is here. 333.
Wow.
3.
Okay.
You know what? I see a lot of the 1144.
Okay. Well, my bad.
Oh, go ahead, please.
My battery is about to die. What good timing. I'm about to actually.
It's perfect.
Well, it's over. That was delightful to hear their take. They are just a great duo. One day I would love to have a discussion with the two of them. This is the link. I'm putting it in the chat again. It's in the description for the full stream from Sweetie PieLo and Mike Dammann. And I just want to show you guys a little something with Letitia Stout. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. And you might have some comparisons that you think of when you watch this as well. Oh my goodness, the spinning wheel of awfulness. I don't get it. I don't get it. I do a speed test. A speed test is great. I don't understand. I'm going to have to try to learn OBS again. I don't think I have a choice now that I'm a one-lady show. What I need to do is get back to just pre-recording a video, going over the video, giving my, hypotheticals on the keywording, and then playing that video and being able to pause it and talk to the chat. That's what I think I need to do. And then if there's, troll attacks, so I can stay on topic, I could always end the live chat for that show if I have to. Oh, I agree, KJ. I was looking at the different statistics too, depending on the dynamics, right, of where we are in certain things within content. And the statements about, breaking the internet. And it's very interesting. I think it was like 0.05%. So like if there's 7 or 8 million people in Tennessee, for example, and you have 1,000 people in chat, it was like 0.0005%. I'll have to check. So it's such a minute, little tiny drop in the bucket. And we know that the viewers are across the globe, right? So this is very interesting. Why is it doing this? I'm praying for you guys. I hope you guys get well. I love statistics. And I get it. Like, that was my hardest thing with a lot of stuff in this case is I'm like, no, this is not possible. But then when I started to look into the statistics of the dynamics, right, of the different audiences, of the different, you know, type of creators and the stuff that people are working with the Proudfoot side of this, I was like, wow. Like, statistically speaking, if we are getting an audience that is primarily, I don't even know how to say it nicely at all, you're going to have an overwhelming majority of, you know, a very different scenario than the dynamics you're going to get watching Plunder or Grizzly's True Crime. Even Sweetie PieLo, she's more true crime, but they also bring in the psychic aspect. It's just fascinates me because I think Occam Razor applies a lot, but within the context of what it is, right? Because a lot of times we're applying Occam's Razor as if it's, you know, all these different categories that when we're in a little sphere into these channels, it's a very different Occam's Razor. Very different. Did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything.
You know me, I'm a psych junkie. I really am. I'm such a nerd.
I am Tisha Stout, which is.
Oh, you don't know me. See, people will run with that. I mean, I think you know my personality in this by now.
Gannon's stepmother.
When it comes to the psych. So this is fascinating. I'm going to turn this up a little bit.
You are. I am Tisha Stout, which is Gannon's stepmother.
Now, this was Gannon Stout, and she unalived him. Horrible, 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 heartbreaking. Shoved him in a suitcase, just to give you some context.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about.
I'm going to try something else, guys. Hold on. Let me close these tabs. The internet is running fine, so I don't know.
Anything with the case. I would more so be.
Okay, so she's saying she can't talk about anything with the case. Does that sound familiar?
You are.
I am Tisha Stout, which is Gannon's. Stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20 some death threats already. Two, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home. And of course, I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, you know, and in doing an investigation, I was told I wasn't complying. And can I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes. So I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, you know, said I still wasn't complying or said I was, you know, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
And that's why you say that they said then you weren't cooperating with the investigation.
That's why they said I wasn't cooperating at that time. Correct.
And why did you ask for an attorney at the time?
Well, I asked for an attorney at the time because there was one individual, there was two really good detectives. And so I'm not, you know, going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started to get when I would answer questions, they try to you know, they're detectives. They're supposed to twist. The one main goal is to find Gannon. But during that time, some of those things made me feel uncomfortable the way they were saying things. So I immediately stopped and felt like an attorney would help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that I needed help with and understanding some of the things that they were asking.
I'm going to shift gears to what has become a huge online presence of people obviously trying to do the right thing, help find Gannon. But at the same time, sometimes it just feels like rumor mongering. Have you seen any of those comments yourself?
We have. And see, that's one of the main things we haven't been around in the public eye, because I didn't want to expose my family to it if all these things were going on. You know, there was comments about Gannon getting pushed off the hike, and there was comments about this, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know. But I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun. And my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in handcuffs over the keys that was in her purse so they could take her car.
And they weren't in there.
They weren't even in her car. I mean, in her purse. And they were in my pocket.
You originally didn't even know it was the law enforcement officer?
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting his jacket on, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, I got the, like, who is this guy? And then once I realized it was the sheriff's office, I was totally okay, but they still had a gun.
I slowed this down a titch. I don't know why it's so. She's just talking super fast because it's hardly even fast.
And they told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like that, when that shouldn't even happen for a child. That shouldn't happen for someone who was standing inside of a store shopping because we couldn't have any clothes because all of our clothes were here. We came here and got
tons and tons and tons of unwarranted information.
Clothes, you know, we would be harassed. So she went to purchase some underwear and things like that.
Oh, yes, Mama 3, I agree. Yep. Oh, this wheel, this spinning wheel. Come on, spinning wheel. What's going on?
And was put in the handcuffs in the store, you know, and then brought out with men with guns. And that's just not okay. You know, they could have approached me and said, hi, I'm with El Paso County. Can I please get this? Instead of the way that it happened.
I'm just going to check your chat. Doing great. Well, make sure that we're still good on recording. Still can hear you okay. Okay, yeah, sounds like we're good. Every once in a while, my mic will give out, and I want to make sure that's not going to happen here. Okay. I should try and clarify here. Not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the search.
Oh, yes. Wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have. My family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. We've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we could protect each other.
How does it feel when not only you have a lost child who you are in care of, but then people blaming you for that child not being there?
You know, I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done.
Okay, I'm going to rewind this. KJ, perfect timing. I am going to rewind. Listen to this. All the online rumors. The only difference I see is she didn't come right out of the gate with it, but she did in certain ways insinuate, right? It was just a little different, her presentation with this interview. And thanks for stopping by, Mom of 3. Nice to see you. Oh, the spinning wheel. Cannot believe this thing. I'm not a good singer, guys, or I would try to entertain you while we wait for this to stop. Oh, I have my ideas on what's going on and why. 5 minutes. It doesn't matter, even if I have it all the way down on the lowest. It's because the internet speed is perfect, and this is a new computer, so I don't know. I have an idea. I'm going to talk to my IT guy tomorrow. I think I know what's going on. I think. And I can combat this because I have things downloaded, and I can just start downloading if people are going to be playing these games. I may not have been in true crime, but I've been around a long time with this. I know the trickery.
See when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so.
I did, KJ. I'll do it again. I'll show you my speed report. I can email you a picture. It's ridiculous. This started after a certain commenting occurred. Very
to talk about how the
coincidental. In my opinion, I don't believe in coincidence anymore.
Static. When I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon, and I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind, and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario, and he's always helpful. And he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house. And we have.
All right, I did it again. That was bizarre. It was back up to 174, KJ. And I just did it like an hour ago. That's weird.
Helpful with the dogs around the house, and we have 2 little cute dogs. And he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. Sometimes with kids, we have to remind them and things like that. And that's okay. But the person I could.
Fast. Is she manic? You think? Let's slow it down a titch.
Say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. Sometimes with kids, we have to remind them. And things like that. And that's okay. But he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, are you okay? And such a kind heart.
I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this. But is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that, she came home from work after the hike, and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine with me. If she doesn't want to, that's okay, but you're allowed
that's
to
fine.
ask her. Okay so far?
Yes. I need Harley. Because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work.
Do you want me to just say yes?
No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work, and you can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah. I told her she didn't have to be too in depth because she is still, a child. But I want to make sure that someone knows that there's another person to verify that Gannon.
Sure.
Does she need to hold this?
No.
Yes. So I came home later that evening. I was at work, and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
Okay. I guess when.
And then we ate Burger King afterwards. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
I know this is annoying, the typing, but
to play at a friend's house.
I'm texting my IT person.
And then it was just, I'm off to go to at a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to comment on that anymore. And for that reason is because some things have been turned and twisted. And
oh, here it is. Here's the comment, guys. 7:58, not 5:58. KJ, I know. I agree with you. I was talking to somebody that I'm really close with that is in a different capacity of psychiatric, what is it called? It doesn't matter, but I'll Google it. And I was asking them, how did they do it? I can't imagine when you're around sociopaths, or, well, sociopath, I guess, is no longer utilized as the proper terminology because they keep changing the wording. But what is it? Psychopathy? If you know somebody, I mean, I guess there's a level of having to disassociate from that, right? So that you can properly do your evaluations. But I could not. I mean, I couldn't even do the chemical and dependency counseling because I was having such a hard time seeing people that were veterans losing a leg, and it just a mess. And then with the regular social work now, you know, you can't give advice at all. You have to say, how does that make you feel? You know, well, what do you think we should do? And I'm just like, okay, I can be a talker when I got to be a talker. But if I'm going to be a counselor, I want to be able to talk a little, you know, like, I don't know, just interesting stuff. All right. I just finished a Red Bull. I had one way too late, if you can't tell. So this is very interesting. This is where it is 7 minutes, 58 seconds. And that's when she starts talking about the internet.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to like comment on that anymore.
that.
And for that reason is because some things have been turned and twisted. And, you know, that was one of those stories you were talking about where people say things. We had to hear things like who would let their child go out at dark and things like that. And that's just why I don't want to answer that. If I had to give, I'm not going to say that part.
That's okay.
Never mind.
That's right.
I could take that out.
I understand that it gets tricky with
Yeah.
legal stuff. Do you feel like I asked you what I need to? Do you feel like this is going to help kind of turn the tide of what feels like a witch hunt, in my opinion?
I hope am I on camera now?
You are
okay.
still.
Okay. I think that a lot of people can see that I'm not missing and see that I am being cooperative. But to me, it's okay that they think those things because the way someone thinks about me, I don't have a problem with that. My main thing is I would never want someone to think that I would hurt Gannon or any of the children in our home because that's just not the case. I've spent my whole entire life working so hard in education. There was even things online that was talking about my education license and I shouldn't even be a teacher. And they just didn't know that. Like we moved on a military move and I didn't finish out my contract. So I gave up my license in that state. It had nothing to do with any criminal activity, you know, or any of those things. And it just got blown out of proportion on my professional status, you know. And
do you feel like these are just internet detectives who think they know what they're doing?
It definitely is. And, you know, here's the thing that kind of saddens me. It's like if you're going to talk about someone like that and have a witch hunt out for them, why would you even care like about doing those things? Because this is a child. You're telling me that you're just as mean, you're just as hateful to talk about someone else like that. That's how I feel. Like we just should not. We should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband. We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family, is that we love you and miss you. And we hope that you come home soon. And Gannon, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
This is the pink salt recipe that took me from 179 to 126 in just weeks. You know what the best part is? It's natural, easy, has no side effects, and takes less than a minute to prepare. Using just 4
As I speak right now, Cassandra Ventura has taken the stand. Now,
All right, so we didn't get the spinny wheel, but we got the, we're not going to unmute situation. Okay, so where are we going next? We were going, oh, okay. I know where we were going. Okay. I'm going to open my Celsius and I'm only going to have a quarter of it. Okay. I set my alarm. So when the baby gets up again, after I give him his baba, I will go back to bed. We're starting different treatments for him because we found out that he wakes up every 2 or 3 hours still because of the damage to his foot. He had a botched surgery and it's been really sad. They found when they went in to do an exploratory surgery that the previous surgery for the tendons, for his Achilles tendon, because he had club feet, they botched it and they severed his main artery in his left little foot and the nerve endings in his left foot. So he's been in a lot of pain and that's what wakes him up every couple hours. So as a mama, my mama heart was broke, as you know, right? And so, but now we know what's going on and I'm doing different things. I got this little sand therapy thing where you can make the sand warm and they can put the little foot in it. And so I'm trying to get back to a stable night's sleep where I'll actually have REM again, everybody. I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm, getting like a full rest and not this 2-3 hour. I mean, it's been a couple years of this 2-3 hour. And my daughter, the one that has the profound autism, but she's doing really good. She's got the beginning communicative speech. That's going fantastic. She sleeps. I know a lot of children that are on the spectrum and have different abilities, right? Especially with neurodivergence. They have issues with sleeping. Thank the Lord, as long as I keep her busy, she sleeps for me unless there's something going on. So figured I'd give you that little tidbit. So we might not be doing a lot of multitasking with Mommin that much longer now that we know what the baby is waking up about. And he's such a sweet little thing. He doesn't cry and go on and on. Like he'll, get a baba and he'll go back to sleep. He's 2 now. I know I got to get rid of the baba, but with what he's going through, let him have the darn bottle. He got braces. I'm not stressing it. My first son, I was like totally different, right? This one, it's true what they say. When you have your 4th and 5th kids, you're like, they're fine. Little dirt don't hurt, but so the multitasking with mama is probably not going to happen too much. I am going to have to get a better schedule during the day, but I truly have enjoyed all this time just hanging out with you guys, being able to chit chat and, going over the statements. And I kind of missed it, having a small channel where we can kind of hang out. It's nice because when it gets so big, it's so much more, you have to be so much more strict. You got to stay on topic. You have to be much more professional. You don't get that back and forth as much with the chat. So I just wanted to thank you guys. For those of you that didn't, know me before the Sebastian Rogers case and the sad, debacle of how you might have heard of me, I want to just thank you for sticking around and, seeing that I'm just trying to do what everybody's doing. I'm trying to use a little bit of skills. We are all born with different skills, right? Or we acquire skills. And just going through things and listening. And it's all the stuff I would be doing anyway. And I might as well do it with you guys if you want to hang out with me while we do it. But I appreciate this. I think it's nice. And I look forward to as we grow in the future, because I'm going to start obviously being much more scheduled. And I'll have some shows where I'm going to have another host. And we're going to have 1 panel a month, which is going to be like a round table. Just remember that I thank you guys that are here right now while we're still a little baby channel. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Not to be, psychologically manipulative, right? Because we're going to talk about all that stuff again in another, show of what to watch out for when you're online, because there is a lot of tactics that people will use, right? They'll be like, I love you, call you family. And you got to be careful with that stuff online. You got to be careful because sometimes people do that on purpose and they get off the live and then, they're living a whole different life. Okay. So we'll go over that again. And I'm trying to see, what were we doing? We were doing Mike Dammann, Sweetie PieLo. What else do I have on my list that I wanted to watch? Sorry, guys, I'm going through my notes on my iPad. If you have any suggestions of anything you want to look at, let me know. Oh, let's see. There's another Letitia Stout. We can look at that. And for everybody that doesn't know about her, let me give you a little, tiny background. Ooh, Rose Reed Homestead. She's deep frying, no, not deep frying, freeze drying sweet potatoes. I clicked on it by accident. My freeze dryer broke when I moved. I love that thing, but they're like $5,000, guys. But if you ever have a chance to get a freeze dryer, amazing. We made ice cream sandwiches. I do all the strawberries, blueberries, awesome stuff. Anyway, I'll watch that later. I don't think we can do true crime and freeze drying sweet potatoes. So with Letitia Stouch, the motives for the murder of her 11-year-old stepson, Gannon Stouch, was in January of 2020, and it was pieced together through court proceedings, evidence, and psychological evaluations. Her exact reasoning still remains rather complex, and it is rather, partially, what do I keep doing here? Grok is not being very helpful right now. I'm just backspacing it. Okay. Oh, why is that happening? Tonight is really one of those nights. If you were a fly on the wall, you'd be laughing if you saw all this wacky technical stuff that's been going on over here, guys. It's just totally wacky. It's wacky. If I was superstitious, I tell you. Okay, so here we go again. Okay, so a lot of this stuff is partially speculative because it has this shifting narrative, right, that we just heard. She kind of goes all over the place. She also has the claims of mental health. I kind of think that it seems pretty legitimate, in my opinion. This is not medical advice, but, she does seem a little manic and maybe schizophrenia. Some of the key evidence in the prosecution's case was in resentment towards Gannon. She reportedly viewed Gannon as a burden and an obstacle in her life. Witnesses, including family members, testified that she frequently complained about Gannon's behaviors. There wasn't a lot of evidence that Gannon had these bad behaviors, though. It really suggested that he was a typical child, that he didn't have any notable behavioral issues that were documented within the family, friends, or even in the schools. It says that Google searches actually found on her devices that she had actually typed in, "I hate my stepson," and how to get rid of a stepchild. Oh, you do, KJ? That's great. Keisha was married to Gannon's father, who is Al Stouch. How do you say it? I'm going to have to listen to somebody saying her name again. But their relationship was deteriorating. And what did we hear? Rumors and speculations, right? Chris Watts, we know they weren't on great grounds, right? And then we know that allegedly it's been said that the mom and the stepdad of Sebastian were also on rocky footing, right? And there's so many others, but this is just comparing certain things here. So basically, it seems like people were saying that The unaliving of Gannon was potentially a way to sever ties with both the child and the husband. Evidence did show that Letitia was researching apartments and divorce-related topics around the time of the unaliving, indicating she was planning a new life without Al or his child. I mean, it's just horrific. Can you imagine? Oh, her actions post-murmur, such as fleeing to South Carolina. Who else took off? Right? We have another person that left. And in the Nancy Grace interview with Sebastian's mom and stepdad, they did not say they were leaving over safety. The dad said he was leaving for work. The stepdad, I'm sorry. And the mom said that she was just going to go with him. And that's something I want to play real quick before we get into the next video, if possible, because I don't think a lot of people had caught on to that, unless you guys know what I'm talking about, and then I won't play it. But I think a lot of people gloss over on the earlier interview with Nancy Grace. The whole fearful thing was not the main narrative. And that goes with all the speculations I've had, that they just see what people are saying and what people are believing, and then they just go with whatever will stick. It's just my, gut instinct. Stoke. Sounds awful. Oh, so bad. KJ, really. Let's see. It's believed that she may have unalived Gannon to cover up prior abuse. See, that would kind of fit more, right? Not that there's ever anything that fits or makes sense. That evidence also included a recorded incident days before where Gannon was injured in a candle fire at home. Oh my gosh. Of course, Letitia said that was accidental. And prosecutors, argued to the contrary, that indeed it was abuse. So this report might have been another threat to her. Text messages, audio recordings as well, showed Letitia manipulated Gannon. Oh my gosh, this is really bad. It showed that she was manipulating Gannon, telling him he was in trouble and needed to lie about the incident, suggesting she feared exposure. Well, we know that there was also a lot of CPS things in this other case. Let's see, just skipping through here. So Letitia was the primary caregiver for Gannon and Lena, while Al was a National Guard member, and he was often away from home. This role may have amplified her frustration, especially if she felt unappreciated or trapped in the marriage. Letitia had a history of lying and manipulation, including falsely claiming to be a doctor and exaggerating her credentials. The pattern suggests she was comfortable deceiving others, which may have emboldened her to believe she could evade accountability of Gannon's unaliving. After the unaliving of Gannon, Letitia moved his body twice, first hiding it in Colorado, then transporting it to Florida in a suitcase. These actions required planning and composure, undermining her insanity defense and pointing to a motive of self-preservation. Just skimming through these guys. Says the absence of remorse and her elaborate efforts to evade justice further suggest a motive rooted in personal gain and disdain for her stepson Gannon, whom she saw as expendable. Heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. But there is a lot of similarities. You can't help but notice some similarities. Do you want to see a little bit of the Letitia with the FBI? Let's see, how long is this one? Because I really wanted to finish Mike Dammann's analysis. There's a couple. We'll finish Mike Dammann's analysis, and then if we have time before the baby wakes up, I'll go over and go to some of the key words of this FBI one with Letitia Stout. Stout. I'm trying to pronounce it. Let's see. Oh my gosh, KJ. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me see. Oops. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up Mike Dammann's video that I had over here. Oh, I cleared the cookies and stuff again. Okay, so that's why I had to re-log in. That makes sense. That makes sense. I really cannot wait to hear more of his analysis, especially when he can really give all of it. I don't know if he could really do that though in one video, right? Because it's so lengthy, probably be way too long. Where is this one? Let me just put the links in chat for you guys.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have
it because
Right, so I put the links in the chat. All the credit goes to Mike Dammann. And where were we? I might rewind a minute or so. Let's see.
I could not suffer through all of his segments.
So this is titled Chris Proudfoot Wants Respect. I cannot echo this statement that he's making right now enough. I concur. I agree. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Chris McDonough said, yeah, that couldn't have been Burke because he wouldn't have been able to stage all of that. What the hell are you talking about? And I'm saying.
Let me just read that title. What's the title of the book again, KJ? Let me scroll up here. I'm sure it did. I'm sure it was really hard to read. But sometimes I think you're right. We have to, learn about things that we really don't want to sometimes, just so we can realize the gravity of what some can do in our world, right? And it helps to apply to our, see something, say something. One of the things that I've noticed, especially surrounding this whole Sebastian, Rogers case, is that a lot of times I think that people just, have kind of become so desensitized to certain things. They think that, oh, this never, it's all like entertainment. It's not real. Bad things don't exist. They're used to just watching it. And it's like, oh my gosh, you have no idea. And I think when you explain it statistically for some people too, that helps. Because that's what I used to do sometimes. It's like, oh, if you live in a town that has, 25,000 people, there's at least 1,000 people that have, unaliving, ideation, or I don't know, things like that. Because sometimes I don't think people really get it.
This, I'm actually inclined to believe it.
And Mike says this a lot, that a lot of times the person that you think is always the good one and, always does the right thing, has no criminal history and this and that, oftentimes they may be the one that snapped or something went on. And that's why I think statement analysis is so powerful, especially if you can use, if you have some good discernment or good intuition and you can put it together with other things. Really beneficial. And that's just,
because I could not suffer through all of his segments.
Getting the book thing.
But the entire then 15-year-old Hunter interview, I watched it several times. The ones with Candace, I think twice I watched it too. And other parts, I watched like certain parts I watched 3 or 4 times. Just to make sure I actually heard what I heard. And then I click on transcribe to make sure that Google agrees with me, YouTube agrees with me actually. Because certain statements are very significant. And just for the record, I don't think there was any wrongdoing in the Summerville's case. Hunter talked, she went underwater 10-15 seconds. There was something that happened. Candace introduced her hitting her head on rocks. Hunter said nothing about that. She said, well, Hunter claims that she hit her head on the rocks, and I say, oh my God, yeah. That would explain why she may have been underwater for 10-15 seconds. Hunter jumped in and got her out, and he was asked, what did Candace do? He said Candace and her mother were just yapping. They were on the phone looking at stuff and talking. So would that be negligence? Criminal negligence? I don't think so. But Candace Wells and her husband were, of course, in and out of prison. And the kids lived in terrible conditions. And they didn't want police in the house. They didn't want, they knew also, Candace probably figured if this goes to trial and the jury sees evidence of how our children live, how our lifestyle is, they may throw the book at us because they probably think, you know what, these types of people just need to be locked up. And first of all, the other kids need to be taken away from them, which I think happened by now. I think shortly after, had to happen. You know. Especially since she invited Chris McDonough into her house, and he actually filmed. Didn't he film like, or did he describe it? He filmed part of it, how the children lived, how they lived in that house. And he has a way with certain types of people to get them to invite him in their houses and so on and so on. You know, he's talking about Hunter all the time. Oh yeah, it's because I'm old, right? I'm old. He's making stupid jokes about how he's and when somebody comes at me like with self-deprecating humor, I immediately turn away. I shut off. I stop speaking immediately because I know they have an agenda. But the question is what Chris McDonough's agenda was. And one of them, of course, came clear when he asked Hunter, what should be done to the person who did this? Something like that. Who is responsible for this? If somebody is responsible for this. And he said, they should go away for a very long time. And that, of course, shows me that Hunter was a part of his suspect pool. This is the question you ask somebody who's, okay, at least a person of interest, of strong interest, whom you have not cleared yet.
I just want to show you guys that book real quick that TJ was talking about. This is just a fast review really quick.
Today I'm going to try my hand.
It's only 2 minutes long. And if you have anything to add, KJ, just let us know. But I think it's let's show it. Since you brought it up, it may be a good read for some.
And a 90-second review. We're going to see how this goes. So.
Oh, no, we're not doing this. I'll just read it. All right, I'll just read.
So for the 90-second review, I'm going to be doing A Child Called It by Dave Pelzer. Some of you may have heard of it, some of you may not. So here we go. Start the clock. So the book is about the author's childhood abuse, and it really follows him and what he went through at the hands of his mother. The book, like it even says, is it's about the worst case of child abuse in the state of California. So it's a really rough read at times. However, there is a lot of controversy like around the book as to people whether they believe it's real, because it is so graphic and there is so much that goes on that it seems unbelievable. There's also the controversy is kind of also fueled by the fact that Dave Pelzer bought a lot of his own books to like get his ratings up, and there have been interviews with the family that contradict it, as well as he contradicts himself a lot in the book. So going into that, like the writing style, it's a very lower level for what the content of the book is. I would say it's more of a young A read than from when I read it. I originally read it in like the late 90s. It was like pre-junior high for me to be reading this book. Not a child's book, though it is kind of written at that level. So as for recommending, I wouldn't necessarily really recommend it. It's kind of an odd read. Did it really stick with me? However, yes, like certain things with this book, like something will trigger me and it will remind me of this. So yeah, there's definitely a lot more that I could say about this book. And
so basically exactly what you said. It is something that you should read because it will stick with you. And she just seems like the kind of person that doesn't want to believe bad things can happen in this world, and we're going to live in a fantasy of rainbows, unicorns, and butterflies. And then when something does happen, we all know what happens because you can't handle it, and there's nowhere, it's not a good thing. So sorry about that, KJ. I did not think she was going to say that. I thought it was going to be a quick overview of, the back cover. You know,
the same with this type of agenda-driven ingratiation. The same when somebody is ingratiating with the 911 call too much. Hello, hi. Is this police? Yes, hello. And or say thank you and please too many times when they're too nice to law enforcement while their child is missing, right? All of that is a flag, man. If somebody's too nice to you and it doesn't make sense and it doesn't feel right, be very cautious. Be very cautious. Look at the rest of their statements that they're making, because they will tell you within their statements what they actually want and what they actually really think about you, which can be another thing. That he may look at Hunter and the mother and the grandmother, and they were like 400 pounds or something like that, and they, maybe he wanted to hide what he really thinks about the people and pretend that he likes them or whatever. And also, I don't think he's paying people for the interviews, but these interviews make him a lot of money. A lot. And of course, it wouldn't be appropriate to pay people who are witnesses for their statements. It could significantly cause them to make more out of a story, because maybe they'll say, oh, heck, man, this was easy money for me. I want part 2. I want people to come back to me and give me some more money. He bought them pizza or something. But still, in the back of his mind, it has to be, he is significantly financially benefiting from this. And the last thing he wants is for Hunter and his family to know. I don't know how they are with money, but they're not rich, I think. So they could have used it. But, you can always say, well, who knows what they spend their money on. So, anywho, I hope that some of what I'm saying is resonating with you guys when it comes to every single day life, because we deal with deception on an every single day basis, especially at work, which is why I don't simply go by whatever statement I'm attacking at the moment. I'm stretching it out because I want people to not only memorize the rules of statement analysis, I want everybody to actually connect it to their own lives. Think about when you lied. What kind of language did you use? Think about when somebody really disappointed you or let you down. Think about when somebody misled you. Think back at the language they were using. Look at old emails from people. That has been very helpful to me, especially when you now know the outcome a couple of years later. Statement analysis is not only useful for criminology and to detect deception. It is wonderful to detect intention. The red flaggery is absolutely intense when it comes to Chris Bradford's, the gift that keeps on giving, but also the gift that keeps on taking away from your sanity if you listen too much. So he said, it's amazing. Remember when he also talked about amazing, when he used the term amazing, he said, when the truth comes out, it will be amazing. Amazing. And after that, he said, all of these YouTube content creators will be put out of business because they are so wrong. He focuses on the people who are wrong. And those are the people he attacks. The people who are, guessing around. And that's what a lot of the so-called green team people are doing. They're keeping people on there because they're guessing around. And it's one guess after the next. And then the next week, it's a different guess, and so on. So he goes for the very easy. And one of you has sent me a wonderful, beautiful email. Oh, one of you just said, did you catch that he wears sleep pants to bed when it's cooler weather? Which it was. They said he was last seen wearing sweatpants and a long-sleeved shirt when he went to bed. Sleep pants are normally referred to as sweatpants. Yes, that's very good point. That whatever he went to sleep in is what he disappeared in. Very likable. It's highly, highly, highly likable.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not going to name the person who just sent me this message. I know she will have no problem with me reading it on the air, but until I get confirmation, I will just read it without the. Let me just show you on the screen. Wait a minute. Because it's really good. It's really spot on, man. Spot on.
Well, thank you for letting us know, KJ. Because yeah, definitely, it's more a book and a story about survival, right? It's not, a novel. So definitely gonna order it because I don't think I ever read it. I don't recall ever reading it. Either one, if there's two.
Now you won't be able. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I have to say this, what you said about CP, how he finds the weakness in an argument and most people concede and let him win. That is so true, what you said. People let him win for reasons other than him having a good argument, because he doesn't have any. He doesn't know how to argue. He does not know how to win an argument ever. Not with his words, not with his knowledge, not with his intelligence. He doesn't know, and he knows it, and he's learned it probably very early in school, that when others were talking about certain things, he was unable to follow. But he also learned probably, maybe he was good in sports and able to intimidate people. I think that's what he learned very early on. He raises his voice, he threatens. That is his way of winning. Can you still see the screen? Okay. Let me read you the whole thing. Don't let me get sidetracked here. I have to say this. When you said what you said about CP, how he finds the weakness in an argument and most people concede and let him win. So he feels intellectually and morally superior, therefore feels respected. That's it in a nutshell. Yes, at that moment, he tells himself that he's at least intellectually close to equal, which he knows he's not most of the time. And that's also why he chooses certain kinds of lowlifes that he calls in on. He calls their shows because he feels like they're even dumber than me, but they know he had something to do with it. But, that's their way to have a following and have, viewers, to have Chris Wood on there. So they tell him exactly what keeps him on. And
this is just awful. I couldn't agree more. The analyses are wonderful.
Again, he tells himself, or in his own mind, it is because they respect him, or maybe even he knows they don't believe him, but he gets a sense of moral superiority. These people are even worse than me. They don't even have anything to do with this, but they're becoming almost like accessories, helping me with my damage control. Therefore feels respected. That's it in a nutshell. That's why he continually describes himself as respectful. Absolutely. Respect is this key word. He's itching to tell the real story, like you said, to prove how people are wrong. Absolutely. For the first time in his life, he knows what other people do not. For the first time in his life, Chris Proudfoot knows something that others want to know more about, and people are guessing about. The way he comes off, the reason he keeps calling in and feels a need, because he finally found some people, a lot of people, who don't know something that he knows. And that's why I said before, he is conflicted. On the one hand, of course, he doesn't want us to find out what happened to Sebastian, but on the other hand, Man, the dude is itching. He's thinking, wow, I can't, oh, crap, man. I want to talk. I want to, you know, when he listens to somebody on the air, somebody who makes the wrong guess, like I said, there are very few people I listen to. And I always, recommend be very careful with your time and your energy, protect it. Don't allow yourself to sit there and listen when you realize people are guessing around and there's a lot of dead air. And all of a sudden there's a panel of 5 people, all of a sudden somebody says, well, what if? BS. Get the hell out of here. They schedule their lives.
Oh, yeah.
But not based on something new being there. They create the new evidence in a title. And then there is absolutely not a thing. I like what Sweetie PieLo does. She does her lives when there is something. It also means she doesn't do it every day twice, like many of these guys do. They're filling dead air and they want to keep you on. Don't be like the masses. The masses.
Oh, I agree, KJ. It's really refreshing. And I mean, I found, honestly, and I know honestly is like one of those trigger words, but it's just something that is just, we say it all the time where I grew up. And it's something I've been working on to remove from my vocabulary in that manner. But I just find it refreshing and encouraging because I've learned more, I feel, from watching Mike Dammann for the last 6 months than a lot of the studies and the professors that I had on. It's just incredible. It really is. What really fascinates me is how many people sit there and do this quote unquote hate watching type of thing. I don't know how people do that. I can't sit there and listen. It's awful sometimes just to listen. I have to do 2 times the speed, just to listen to some of the panels with the stepdad. So I don't know how people listen to this whatever every day, all day. It's weird.
Just always get it wrong, people. Be the few that are not controlled by what other people want them to listen to, but you control. Which is the same with Chris McDonough. When he had even some statement and analyst on there, and they were there was zero, there was nothing coming out of it. It was stretched out over 2 hours something, and there was not, if they're not trying to get to the point, and you sense absolutely zero energy and zero desire to solve anything, don't stick around. Chris McDonough, I think, was well trained. And, he knows how to get the interviews that later qualified analysts can use in order to determine what actually took place. But he was not one of those. Now, of course, he has his own channel. And the interview room is actually not a bad name because what he's good at is getting interviews. And he lets people talk. And that's what I love. But stay the hell away from there. When he has a panel of people guessing around, throwing theories around. You should have done that in private. The CBS special about John Benet Ramsey, that was a great one. That was excellent. And they had the really top qualified people on there who have previously already examined and come to a conclusion together. That's what you do. Not have a ton of people on your panel and talk about, well, what, and no. They want to keep you on the air. Don't do it, man. Seriously. I rather watch like certain, whatever comedies I'm into or whatever, something I like to watch. But then when I get to a case that's a real case, my need for entertainment is already satisfied. I'm already like, okay, let me just get straight to what matters. I have no time, no patience, and zero tolerance for anybody wasting my time with anything and my energy. Oh, she just emailed me. Let me see what she says. I think she says, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Of course you can.
I'm like that in my daily life. I just have no tolerance for it, especially if I know it's just completely senseless. That's why I just can't understand a lot of the people that you're saying that you're interested in true crime and you're also discussing a missing child and you're supposedly advocating and wanting justice and wanting to locate them. And it's just hogwashed, nonsensical blabbering for hours at a time. I don't know how people do it. I don't get it. I never could do that. I have no interest in it. I'd rather, if I'm going to watch something that's senseless, I'll go watch like Weekend at Bernie's or 1,000-Pound Sister Wives or something, entertaining. I don't find anything about a missing child that has, parents thinking that they're breaking the internet or that they're famous. It's just, and forget the creators. I mean, I would like to send some of them a dictionary so they can freshen up on their language so they don't have to use the F-bomb every other word.
But thank you for asking.
So I can relate a lot to what Mike's saying here. I'm sure a bunch of you can
Julia
too,
Turner.
huh?
She wrote me this. And I absolutely love it. Because sometimes you guys are expressing things to me the way I was trying to say them. Let me finish. Respect is this keyword. He's trying to, and by the way, the types of people that always talk about respect, gang members, convicts, those are the types of people that always talk, oh, respect, man. How many times at the work that you do you hear people talk about respect? Well, respect is expected, but not talked about all the time. For the first time in his life, okay, I said, everybody, I tell about this case. Wait a minute. Yeah. Everybody I tell about this case at first ask the same questions. Why does he sit on YouTube? He thinks he gets respect that way. This is very hard to understand for anybody who has an IQ over 92. But you need to realize that the world, as it is, looks different to somebody like Chris Ford. From his perspective, the whole world looks different than it looks to most of you. And I'm saying this because I was amazed when I first started these types of videos, how good the comments were, especially compared to what I look at on X. It's a cesspool out there, an absolute cesspool where even the people who have good minds get sidetracked by complete nonsense. And what I realized, of course, was that you can never think that the average person thinks a certain way just because what you hear and what you read is from the dumbest and the loudest people, usually. So I realized, especially from many of the private messages I've received, and of course, I'm keeping these to myself as I do everything that comes to me privately unless I have permission. I am doing what I can to convey to you that what you think, you can never run away from. And you can never be afraid of. And whenever people try to guilt you into anything, you shouldn't say that about sex. You can say, what? Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you trying to censor me? But it shows me that people are being censored.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we have to be very honest about that. We have all experienced it from the beginning of the case, from different mods and different, I mean, it's really nonsensical, really.
And it tells me there are many people out there, which now has been confirmed to me, which do think exactly along the same lines. They think around the exact same lines. And it's not a surprise. At least it shouldn't be. So Chris Ford is not the norm, and neither are the people who are yapping and talking about Team Green and we are supporting the virtue signaling and all of that. We need to figure out what happened here. And the question is, was it premeditated? And I will not get to this yet. I'm not going to. I will not determine this. I've known good analysts who make mistakes being too fast, giving into the pressure from the public. but you need to let it come to you. It's amazing. It's amazing, Chris Foot. Yes, it's absolutely amazing. What is amazing? Well, it would be amazing if you could say to everybody, see, this is what we did to Sebastian, not what you said, not what you try to guess at.
Yeah.
It's amazing because within the past couple of weeks, we got 2 cases. A 15-year-old boy. Not our 15-year-old son. Not our 15-year-old boy. Not this 15-year-old boy. A 15-year-old boy. Just randomly. Just anybody. Anyone. Just nothing. He's nothing to you. He's nothing to Chris. Absolutely nothing. And it probably took something out of him in the beginning to address Sebastian in a respectful manner, or without any disrespect.
Yeah.
Without telling us how bad he was to deal with, how he read himself, how all of these different things. So the best he can do is offer to you a 15-year-old boy, leaving out any emotions, so he doesn't get tempted to tell you how horrible Sebastian was in his eyes. That has vanished without a trace. That's bragging. When he said he managed to do this without any evidence left behind whatsoever. He's talking about himself. He puts himself into the team of people who managed to do that. Like Julia said it so wonderfully. For the first time in his life, he's done something others cannot figure out, and he loves it. He gets off on that. He loves to sit downstairs in his bar, drink, and call people who are even dumber than him. All the same, they're pretty much the same. He's maybe in a more stable position than they have ever been until now, when they make, a significant amount of money. But they're the same types. Illuminati, Chris Foot, they are the same types of people. Just different, they managed to they had different lives.
Absolutely, groupthink. That's why I'm being so quiet, KJ, because this is
one was
wonderful.
Protected by his mommy.
Really helping.
Just different, they managed to they had different lives. One was protected by his mommy and grew up a little bit richer or better off. And the others, of course, I don't even want to know how they used to live or what their past is. But I mean, I heard some glimpses. A 15-year-old boy, just a 15-year-old boy that has vanished without a trace. That's keyword, without a trace. He cannot be found. He's gone. He has vanished. That's final. That's pretty damn final.
Yeah.
Not he ran somewhere, or he went somewhere, or he disappeared, or he just took off. There is no curiosity here. There's supposed to be what happened to him.
Never has.
We cannot figure it out. Not he has vanished into thin air. That means poof, he's gone. And even Sass picked up on that. He says the children don't just go poof. It's final, man. This guy is gone. Don't worry about it. You have no chance. You got a 22-year-old, 6'4" or 6. That's how tall he was. 6'7", Riley Strain.
Yeah, he knew that.
Died 4 days before Sebastian Rogers. This was reported missing. I believe he died on the 22nd. And I still don't know exactly what happened. Last thing I remember having read was that he was highly intoxicated and drowned, and the parents want to sue his fraternity over who knows what. So I don't know if there's foul play involved. I mean, you tell me. I'm focused on what I'm focused on, and I'm really focused on that. And so I don't have so much space I can't let myself get sidetracked too much. But so the question whether or not the timing had something, I will get into this later, but not now. Not now, not yet. I'm still looking at more more things for me to determine additional surrounding factors and the deeper meaning of why he actually wants to talk about Riley's strain. And of course, it can be an example. And mind you, later he's also going to say something that really stands out. I can only imagine what his family's going through. You're in the same boat, buddy. That has vanished without a trace. You got a 22-year-old, 6'4" or 6'7" college kid from Missouri, that's Riley, who has vanished without a trace. Riley has been found. That's a huge significance here. It's like, wow, wow, yeah. What is your significance, Chris Foot? What is so significant about this? Does that even make sense? Is that something that we need to pay additional attention to?
Potentially, it's been brought up.
It can happen. That's what he's telling us. When Seth said no evidence is also evidence, yeah, I agree with that. To a very large, to a very significant extent, I do agree with that. No evidence is evidence too. And he keeps repeating, this boy did it with no evidence, with no evidence, no evidence. And of course, people are wondering, how can there be no evidence? How can there be no footprints? Or they dismissed everything, right? The glasses, that one footprint, they dismissed the glasses, very significant. But basically, how many cases have you seen where there was zero evidence? So he's telling you, don't think too much. This can happen. It can happen. He is talking to the public. He is responding to things that have been brought his way.
Yeah.
Where people say it cannot be that the boy just disappeared like that and and he walked away and there's nothing being found. A couple more things. Chris Foot talks about Sebastian's sleeping issues all the time. And here on Web Sleuth, he said he's had sleeping issues. He doesn't really sleep a lot. That's why that's been his whole life. That's not just been like his something. Seth has even mentioned this before. I'm pretty sure as well. Seth has mentioned that. Who cares what Seth has mentioned? You care.
Yeah, he's always
why? Because you have ill intent towards Sebastian. Because you know whatever you say is going to be victim blaming him. So you say, even Seth said it. Because we all know Seth would not victim blame his missing child. So he is gaining validity. He's gaining credibility on behalf of Seth, even when he falsely tried to make it look like he had been cleared. He said all three parents. He likes to include himself with the innocent parent. But he says even, I'm pretty sure as well.
Sure does.
I don't remember Seth saying that. I'm sure Seth knows about it. I mean, the only time, like I've seen a couple times where he slept really well, but I mean, that's after a hard day of playing, if he's helped with outside work, but for the most part, he's had sleeping issues sleeping, yeah. I mean, as I say it again, it's not natural for him to be stuck alone in this house with nobody to play with or deal with of course the boy couldn't sleep, man. And the answer is not to medicate him, but to find what he can do.
Exactly.
Take him swimming, take him doing something that he likes. By nature, he loves to run and he loves to swim, but he sat around in this damn house all day long. And they got him, to the point where he couldn't sleep without maybe, Seth said she had a habit of just giving him pills because he couldn't sleep, because he had an active body that needed to be active. So here's something Julia just sent me also.
And does loud noises or certain smells bother him? Just curious, if law enforcement approached him with signs, will he run or melt down?
He doesn't like loud noises, but they've known about that from the beginning. So, like, if it's a song he likes, he can turn the volume up, but like fireworks, he can't stand that kind of noise. So, he does have a sensitivity to sudden and loud noises, mostly.
Okay.
No.
You said that he likes to hide in small places. Small places, can you give me an example of like what, where, like how small? Can you elaborate on that for us?
So he has a closet in his bedroom. I mean, it's not a small closet. It's a good sized closet. He will get over and tuck into a corner in his closet when he's playing with his toys or he's doing something he knows he's not supposed to.
It's always about not supposed to.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like this boy was going into a 2x2x2 space and hiding. I mean,
2x2x2.
like to be in a secluded area.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Okay. Let's see.
The only way he wasn't supposed to.
I don't know who this is, but I don't care either.
People Sunflower says he said earlier he had his reason, and they all agreed it was best that Sebastian not be around his daughter, and now he says that wasn't the issue. I'm confused by this statement. I guess I must have missed a part of that.
Well, to clarify what he said that he didn't have custody of his daughter, so that wasn't going to be an issue.
I don't know who that is. I don't care either. Sorry about wasting 2 seconds of your time. Isn't that interesting? He likes to hide in small closets. Did they say hide actually?
Mm-hmm.
In small spaces. Hide in small spaces. In small spaces he felt safe. But remember, when Sebastian was gone, she said for only 1 minute flat, she looked through the whole house. Does that mean she looked through every small space in that house?
Mm-mm.
1 minute. She woke up at 6 a.m., supposedly. And then by 6:03, she called Chrisford. And she, of course, in her statement, she revealed that that was the first thing she did. But this is just another example of how off her lives are, how off she is. And I wish I had something more exciting right now to give to you guys, to give a crescendo on this, but I really don't. So I hope that I will leave it at that, people. So what have we learned? Chrisford is conflicted. He doesn't want the case solved, but he would love to tell everybody how wrong they are. No, we didn't do it like this. We did it like that. You see, you idiot, get off YouTube. He's itching because that would make him feel even better and more. He would feel like he would get even more respect if he could rub people's noses into whatever is wrong, whatever they got wrong.
Yeah.
Which is why he's beating around the bush. But beating around the bush a million times, he's running around the bush again. That's why I'm going to call it from now on. Whenever Chrisford appears somewhere, I'm going to say he's running around the bush again.
That's a perfect analysis.
He can't help it. This is giving him a high. He feels
perfect comparison.
And he was a part of something that others simply cannot figure out. Like, you see, I'm not a dumbass, but I'm not that. I'm smart. You know, he knows what happened to Sebastian. He sees people getting it right here and there, and he sees a lot of wrong guesses, but he always focuses on the wrong. He always focuses on what people do wrong and what their weaknesses are. And that's how he survives in this world. By focusing on that. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Mike Dammann.
That was great. Whoops. Hang on 1 second. Out. Okay. Well, that was fantastic. We put the link in chat for everybody. Oh, I see it that way too, KJ. It sure does. And this was the link. Again.
It's because
Yep. Love to premiere. That'd be great. Grab this part again, and then where to go? Do okay. Hey guys, well it's 2 a.m. here where I am. I'm gonna go forward an hour again tomorrow. Between East Coast, Central, and then West Coast will be 2 hours behind. So that'll be midnight. So I'm gonna hop off. I know the little one will be up any minute. And I'll be back with you guys either tomorrow or the next day. I'll download the analysis just in case. Just in case. And if anybody has any, well, the interviews, not analysis, but if anybody has any suggestions or, you know, anything like that, you can email me at 411ccn@gmail.com. I also have the membership thing now, so we'll be doing a lot more over there. Let's see. Okay. Thank you so much for modding, KJ and Trishy, and Lisa was in here earlier. All the credit and thanks to Mike Dammann and Sweetie PieLo and those couple little interviews we watched on Letitia Stout. I will get that down, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thanks so much. Thanks, KJ. You have a beautiful day.
Sees the world through a lens so clear, finds the truth without any fear. Oh, she's Mommin it up day and night, with a heart that's glowing bright, helping those who need a hand, guiding them to understanding, counseling hearts so wise and true. In her mind, visions of the new, sees potential in every soul, loves her compass, loves her goal. Oh, she's Mommin it up day and night, with a heart that's glowing bright, helping those who need a hand, guiding them to understanding, counseling hearts so wise and true. In her mind, visions of the new, sees potential in every soul, loves her compass, loves child, lending ears